All right, everybody. Welcome to the Killer Main podcast series. Today's killer is Deathslinger, and we have our lovely guest here. If they would like to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Wallace Tired. I am a Deathslinger main with 10,000 hours in Dead by Daylight and 8,000 hours in Deathslinger, about 38,000 speared downs, and about double that for speared hits, making me the number 4 player in the world for speared downs in Deathslinger. So, honestly, I feel like I have a lot of experience with this killer, and honestly, I've just been obsessed with this killer ever since its release back in 2020 with Chains of Hate, and over time, he's just become my favourite killer and my only reason to be playing this game. So I'm more than happy to be here.
Did you say 10,000 hours?
I have 10,000 hours in Dead by Daylight, yes. I started playing in 2019, and I started out with Huntress and Bubba. But then I started maining Legion for about 1.8k hours. And then when Deathslinger came out, I thought that it was complete dog shit. I thought it was actually going to be worse than Legion. But then I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this guy, and I'm not gonna like him. I'm not gonna like him. Let's be honest. And then, yeah, and then I started loving him. So yeah, we're here now.
I wasn't around when Deathslinger came out. What was the general sentiment? Like, do you know?
So in his PTB, it was weird because back in 2020, Scotland was like the big content creator that everyone would listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And Scotland, I don't know if it was because he had like a lot of problems with his sinuses at the time. He started talking shit about Deathslinger, saying like, "Oh yeah, Deathslinger's bad, Deathslinger's awful." To be honest, in his PTB, Deathslinger did actually have a 5-second chain stun. So
5 seconds.
5 seconds of chain stun, yes, in his PTB. His wheel speed was 2.6 meters per second. That was the speed at which he would reel in survivors. And I think his reload time was 3 seconds. With no reload add-ons.
Oh my god.
So yeah, like Deathslinger was dog.
I'm assuming a lot of that got adjusted.
Yeah. When he released, the reload time went from 3 seconds to 2.75. Now it's 2.6. He got reload add-ons because reload add-ons didn't actually exist in his B2B.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, Wardenski's and Ammo Belt, what they actually did was they shrunk your tail radius. They did what Marshall's Badge and Gold Creek does. And then also he had instant ADS, obviously, because that was like when he released, he had that. So
yeah, I still can't get over 10,000 hours. That's just
yeah. I love this game. This game, like, it's one of the horrible things is that I am one of those content creators like Ots that started very early with Dead by Daylight, started loving the game, but now it's in such a state that I just don't know. I don't know what to do with this game anymore. But hey, Deathslinger is still cool, so you know.
I mean, considering what you just said, because I started playing in right after Nemesis came out. Not because of Nemesis, it was a whole other factor. But I started playing when Nemesis came out, and honestly, we'll get into this a little later with State of the Game, but I kind of enjoy the game more now.
This is the thing with being a Deathslinger one trick. I hate the game, and it sucks because I only play Deathslinger. I don't play any other killer. I don't find any other killer fun. I don't find any other killer enjoyable. And Deathslinger, and also you can see in that video, the fucking ADS time was so fucking stupid, man. Fucking 0.15 seconds ADS time.
But it was
what the fuck were they thinking?
It was so much fun, though.
Yeah, but it was so stupid. But yeah, like Deathslinger being one of those killers that is very hurt by map design, very hurt by map size, and very hurt by just the state of the game overall. Like, you put Deathslinger on Midwich and he's gonna lose.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just can't do anything.
Yeah, he's one of like I call them the elementary haters. There's like 5 of them. There's like 5 because most people agree that Midwich is like the most killer-sided map in the game. There's like 5 killers who despise playing on Midwich. It's like Deathslinger, Chucky. I can't think of the others offhand. Trickster hates it if he doesn't have trick blades.
The whole problem about it is just double story maps, and this is also the reason why he hates Badham, is because any map with any kind of double story to it, Badham, Midwich, Haddon is one of the other maps that Deathslinger just fucking despises. Like he can't do anything about it because he just doesn't have verticality built into his kit. He doesn't have that.
I know you follow me on Twitter. Did you see my tweet about during the Chucky discourse that was happening a few weeks ago? About how I think that Chucky and Deathslinger are like similar in the sense of how people like look at them power wise.
Okay, this is actually something that Osu, so Osu Kin Waibiru, if you know him, me and him were actually talking. We were talking about like ways to actually make Deathslinger a bit better with map pressure. And one of the ideas that Osu has is just make Deathslinger 115, because if you actually look at Deathslinger stats compared to Pyramid Head and Deathslinger have the same downtime. Think about it. If Deathslinger misses a shot, he has to wait 1.5 seconds to get the spear back into his gun. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the same for Pyramid Head.
We're actually going to get into it because there's one of my community members asked a question about that. We'll get into it a little bit more later, but I think that if they want to keep his terror radius at 32 base, I do think he should be 115. Because
that's actually something that I actually talked about, which was keep Deathslinger 110, but down his terror radius to 26 or 28. Because then if you're running, because I actually said this in the Ramble video, I said if you downgrade Deathslinger's terror radius from 32 to 28, and he's running monitor, then his terror radius will be 18 meters, and Deathslinger's range is actually 18 meters.
I thought it was 6.
So, no, it's 18. And basically what that means is that if you're running monitor, you're actually hurting yourself against good players because they'll hear your terror radius and know that's Deathslinger's range. But then, because of the way that the community works, the community will start running monitor. The people who don't run monitor will then be stronger.
I see.
Think about it. Like people will start running monitor, and then the good Deathslingers will stop running monitor, and then they'll be stronger because no one can read their range.
Right. It's similar to the Chuckies who run around with in hidey ho the whole time. It's I just because Deathslinger has always been a killer in my opinion who, like, I don't know how to explain it. People like try to determine his strength a lot of the times, and it's I don't contentious is the wrong word. But people often people can't agree.
Yes, I completely agree with that. I don't think anyone understands Deathslinger's strength.
He's one of those weird killers where people just, and it's not like, oh, people can't agree, like, oh, he's actually top, I'm just saying numbers before you say anything. He's actually top 10. Well, no, he's actually top 11. Like, no, not like that. I mean, like, people can't agree if he's A or B tier half the time. Like, he's in such a weird place because of that, and once again, I like I said, I bring up Chucky a lot, but I've mentioned before that I feel like Chucky's in a very similar situation where some people will say Chucky is like top 5, some people will say he's top 15, some people will say he's C tier. Like I don't understand why these two killers in particular have this issue.
Yeah. The problem is with Deathslinger though is how are you determining his skill? Not skill. How are you determining his strength? Are you talking about chase? Are you talking about map pressure? Are you talking about overall as a killer? Because chase wise, Deathslinger is one of the top 5 chasers in the game.
Yes,
he is, and there's no debate there. Like he is. But map pressure wise, he's one of the bottom 10.
Yeah, right. I mean, 110 killer with no mobility. Yeah, 100%.
And limits his range as well.
Yeah,
he is the only. Think about it. He is the only projectile killer in the game with a limited range.
Technically, Trickster does, but it's seldom happens.
Yeah, but Trickster can just hit you from across the map. He can if he has the aim. Deathslinger can't. Deathslinger has that 18-meter range.
Now, I don't know the range on it, but Trickster's knives do disappear after a certain range.
Oh, so is it like when you look up into the sky with a fully charged hatchet and his esports?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
But like,
It's such a long range that it's very rare to happen. You would have to be on like Red Forest on the other side of the map.
yeah. Meanwhile, with Deathslinger, you're literally just outside the cell radius, and he can't do anything about you.
Right. Um.
So,
No, go on. Go on.
like, that's the thing. Is like, how do you fix the problem with with Deathslinger having no map pressure? How do you do that without breaking the character? Because you can't make him 115. Because if you make him 115, he's going to be way too strong in case. Because he's already strong in case.
Right.
So the idea that I had was make him 115 when he's out of ammo and out of case.
That would be. I would like that more as an add-on than base kit.
The reason why I would say it's base kit is because think about the counterplay that can come inside. That could come from both sides. So Deathslinger.
Wouldn't
Do you remember the whole thing? Do you remember the whole thing about like? Sorry, carry on.
No, I was gonna say, wouldn't that reward him for missing though?
Yes and no, and this is the reason why I'm going to say it. Downing gives you more pressure as a killer, no matter what. No matter what you do, downing does give you more pressure because you get pop, you get pain res, you get surge, you get all this. But also, what a Deathslinger could do is hook someone, shoot the ground, and then they could do what Legions used to do back when when the bleed out from deep wound was based on case or based on like if they could see the survivor. What a Slinger could do is see a like let's say that you're playing comp. You would see a survivor run towards you. You're 115, you're out of ammo, and you're out of case. So what you do, you literally just move your camera away from the survivor and start moonwalking away from them so you can get to the generator. And then the survivor is trying their best to get into your face to force you down to 110.
Oh, you said out of chase too. Okay, I didn't hear that part. Okay, I thought you just meant if he didn't have ammo. Okay.
Yeah, like he would have to be out of ammo and out of case. He would have to be completely useless.
I've had this idea for a while where I've said that I feel like if a killer to help out the lower end killers who don't have mobility, I've made the suggestion that when there's no chase going on after, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, maybe 5, you get like a 10% haste.
I don't think about 10%, 5% would be good. Because
yeah, maybe 5%. Yeah. I mean, the basic idea, my idea with it though is similar to what I think you're trying to say here, is just to help out the killers that don't have mobility to get around the map.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you use your power on someone like Clown to get an even more, it wouldn't work. It'd be kind of like Bloodlust, but out of chase.
So it'll be kind of like do you know how like Call of Duty, like after you get shot and you're out of combat for a certain period of time, you start healing. Would it be kind of like that?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So it'll be kind of like an AFK thing.
Yeah, and since you're saying it would happen with no ammo, that means you can't just use the speed to run up to somebody and just instantly shoot them. You'd have to reload.
Yeah, you're completely defenseless during that time. Like you can't shoot someone. You can't like if you reload, you go down to 110. Because like if you're actively in that case, you shouldn't be 115. You should be 110 because that's what balances Deathslinger. Like you can't just manipulate your camera, start moonwalking a survivor, reload, and still be 115. That's the reason why I also said like out of ammo. It's because of that situation. Like I know this killer. This killer is literally like the only killer I play. So like when I start making up like ideas for him, I do actually think about like all of the situations. Like how does this work? How does this work in certain situations? Can this be abused?
Yeah, the issue there would be conveyance.
Yeah.
And that's the
like
issue.
Actually conveying that.
Yeah, well, and we'll get into the changes here in a little bit too, ideas. But that's whenever people come up with like rework ideas for killers or like perk changes and things like that, I do think that's often something that gets forgotten, is that we do have to remember that things like that, with how specific it is, does have to be explained to the player in some way, shape, or form. Now, the argument could be that Dead by Daylight already does a terrible job at that anyways, but I don't...
I can talk about that.
But I also...
I
don't think that's a good argument. Because, yeah, they suck at it, but I wouldn't want to make it worse.
Yeah, I get that. What I was going to say, though, was Deathslinger is actually a very big victim of that. Tell me one mechanic about Deathslinger that is explained more than like one line
I I probably can't. Fun fact. I don't know if I told you this. I used to main Deathslinger when I started playing the game. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
damn.
Deathslinger
I
was
I feel like a lot of people did.
yeah, Deathslinger was my first main. And then when the changes happened, I switched to Clown. But De- Deathslinger, I didn't even know this until like I want to say like 4 months ago. I didn't know the survivors got a
Yeah.
sound cue when you're aiming at them.
Okay, talking about that sound cue. On the wiki, it says like anyone inside your tail radius. That is wrong.
It,
It's anyone inside your 18-meter range.
yeah, I was gonna say that's what I figured it was. It's if
Yeah.
you can shoot them.
Yeah.
um,
Basically, but it's been bugged for four patches now. So it used to be anywhere on the survivor's model. So basically, like you could aim at their head, aim at their legs, aim at anywhere, and they would hear it.
mhm,
Now it's only on their origin point, which is in their waist.
I see.
So if you're aiming at their waist, they have the sound cue. If you're aiming anywhere else, they don't. So yeah, you can literally sneak up on someone, aim their gun. You can literally like stick the spear through their face, and they literally won't hear it.
So,
Look,
we'll okay, but before we get into all of this, I do have to ask you the question that everyone asks every main.
yeah.
Why Deathslinger? What is it about
So
this character?
Deathslinger, it actually does go into me being trans as well. So going off like the gameplay alone, because there's like multiple levels to reasons why I main this killer. So gameplay wise, he is the most unique killer in the game. There is no other killer in the game that has Deathslinger's power or anything close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like reeling is completely unique. Like spearing someone is completely unique. His projectile is completely unique. Like everything about him was made specifically for him,
Right.
and like that alone got me like reeling. Reeling is the most interesting mechanic in Dead by Daylight because no one understands it other than me. Like, I feel like I'm the only person, even out of other Deathslinger mains, that understands reeling as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the other reasons, so like the personal reasons. I do actually say this a lot, but I feel a lot of kind of I feel a connection to Deathslinger because of his lore. Deathslinger being a victim of racism, being a victim of a world that didn't understand him or didn't accept him. As a trans person, that does actually make me feel better about my situation because as a trans person, I do feel that. And I just reading his lore just showed me like I'm not alone with what I feel. So over time, Deathslinger's just become this comfort character that I've loved like for so long,
Mm-hmm.
to a point that if I stop maining him now, that's like a disservice to the character, basically.
Yeah, Deathslinger's also. We'll get more into the lore later. By the way, did I copy and paste
Mm.
adaptation or lore? No, I said lore this time. Haha.
Yeah,
I did that once for a licensed character. I was like, "How do you feel about the lore?" And then I was like, "I don't. I was supposed to say adaptation. I copied and pasted it. Fuck." Uh,
yeah,
Deathslinger is one of I'd say like 5 or 6 killers who is extremely sympathetic. Like,
yes. You can understand why Deathslinger became a killer. You can
yeah,
understand that.
well, not even understand. Like he's not like okay. Let me preface this. He's still a psychopath, but
Yeah, he's still a sadist. He's still a horrible person. He's a psychopath and everything. Like he's a murderer,
but
but like he's a murderer who was forced into a situation.
yes, like everything he
Yeah,
does has justification. Um, Also, props to behavior for giving his 110 movement speed a reason. I think he's the
yeah, with
only
his fucking gammy
killer.
leg.
Yeah, I think he's the only 110 killer who has a legitimate reason to be 110.
I mean, you could technically say that there's a reason for Huntress with her rabbit foot, with her rabbit feet,
Uh
but
huh.
other than that, like no,
Yeah, I mean Chucky.
like her
It's because
bandaged
his
feet.
yeah Chucky's because of his short legs, but he's like the only killer I
Yeah,
can think of who like has like the most believable reason to be 110.
yeah, because of the leg brace. Like
Um,
the leg brace is literally the reason why he's 110. Like,
that's it's genius. It's so good.
yeah,
Uh,
we don't know the origins for that, by the way. If you look through all of his lore, that it is never explained, and I love that.
I
I
thought
love the fact that the leg brace is never explained.
I thought they do say it. I thought it was a an accident while he was making or working on the railroad.
That was something that I actually put on Twitter because I was like, that was a headcanon.
Oh.
But and it's never explained ever in its lore. But the thing is that it isn't something that has to be explained.
No, it doesn't.
Like
I don't
it's
want like
been,
a full-on
yeah,
story for it, but yeah.
yeah. I don't want like a power graph going like, oh yeah, he shot himself in the leg and that's the reason why he has a leg brace. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's part of his character, but I don't care about the origins of this
Mhm.
part of his character.
Um, and
So,
I mean no offense when I say what I'm about to say, by the way. As someone
hmm,
from the UK, um,
hmm.
is it a little odd that you're maining like the American killer?
So actually, it's actually worse. I'm meaning the Irish killer.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You did not just say that.
And so there was a video that Pixabush put out, and at the end of that video, it was about Deathslinger and his lore. And
Mhm.
at the end of that video, he plays an entire full IRA song.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking of using that song for a montage.
There is
To be
someone
honest,
there is someone listening to this who doesn't know anything about UK politics who has or history has no idea what we're talking about or why I think
like
this.
you thought that the Americans like created Caleb Wong. Imagine if he was in the UK.
Oh my god!
Like, no, he would not survive.
Oh my god!
Like the Americans went easy on him.
I am I
Like,
my family heritage is Welsh, so I have some other problems with or my heritage has other problems with the UK. But man,
yeah. To be honest, though, I do feel like maining Deathslinger has made me a lot more sympathetic to like victims of like racism and victims of like abuse and stuff when it comes to their heritage.
mm,
So Deathslinger has actually done a lot for me. To be
I
honest, like
I don't want to get too into the weeds on the subject, but like I do think people forget that a lot of Irish people were victims of racism during those times.
yeah,
A lot.
Deathslinger wasn't an exception. He was the rule.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's what happened during that time. Like it wasn't only him, and that's the reason why he got so angry. Is because he knew it wasn't only him. Like, of course he would get angry. Of course he turned into the Deathslinger because of what was going on.
Do,
Like, bro.
do you know I assume once again I'm a dumb American. I don't know what everybody else knows. Do you know what a redneck is?
Yes, I do. It's someone from like Texas, and it's like, is it a derogatory term?
Technically, it is. So it technically just means anyone from the South is usually what it's used for.
Yeah,
But the term actually comes from Irish immigrants who used to work on the railroads because they would.
and this is the funny thing. This is the funny thing. If you look at Deathslinger's skin, he has a handkerchief around his neck, and his default skin it is red.
Yeah, well, it's not from the
Yeah.
handkerchief. It's well, the reason they would wear that is so they wouldn't get sunburn on their neck. That's where the term redneck comes from. Is from the sunburn.
I just feel like it's funny that they went that deep with his lore. That they put a red handkerchief around his neck.
I
Like,
he's
because that's where it comes from.
yeah. We'll get into more with it with the lore too on the sense like I do appreciate behavior for because people even especially more recently this character doesn't fit into Dead by Daylight. Meanwhile, we have a cowboy like
Yeah.
like that is not horror. I have never seen a horror movie with a cowboy in it. Have you?
No, I haven't. No, and
Yeah.
like Deathslinger is probably one of the best like renditions of a horror-based cowboy character ever. Honestly,
He's one of the few original characters I think they could legitimately make a movie about, and it would be
mm.
unique in its own right. Just
Yeah.
because of how
Uh,
different it is. It really is like Twins is like body horror. Trickster
yeah.
is like Patrick Bateman type horror, like the rich dude who
Deathslinger is just sympathetic horror.
yeah. I
The
wouldn't even.
horror comes from you being sympathetic to him.
Yeah, and on top of that, like I said, he's just unique. I can't think of any other form of media that has like a horror type cowboy character.
Yeah, and behavior hit it out of the park first try. Like how? How the fuck did they do that, bro?
He was also the character that finally killed the joke of why don't the killers just bring a gun?
Yeah, because like the entity, like the whole like rule behind that was like, oh yeah, the entity would get rid of the gun, But then, like, Deathslinger comes in, and then he's like, I feel like the entity allowed Slinger to bring in a gun because it was more sadistic.
I mean, it's a spear gun. It's not like a gun.
Yeah, yeah, but it's sadistic by nature, and therefore brings out more emotion, and therefore feeds the entity more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Um.
yeah,
Moving on from Deathslinger's character a little bit.
yeah,
Changes. So you've already proposed one, but
yeah,
before we get into this is probably going to be the longest section of this video, as I've talked to you before
yes,
this. This includes base kit, add-ons, and his teachables. I bring up teachables because I feel like it's something that people don't talk about enough.
yeah.
But
So,
let's start with the base kit before we get onto the add-ons, because I know you have a lot of
yeah,
words about a couple in particular.
yeah. A base kit, I've already talked about the 115 change. I feel like that was actually given more map pressure where he lacks it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I feel like his reload speed should be dumbed down to 2.4 or 2.3. So the reason why is because Deathslinger was released in such a time where maps were smaller, maps were like gens were a bit closer together, and everything. So like it made sense for him to have a 2.75 second reload. But it only being lowered down to 2.6 is not enough. Deathslinger needs a faster reload, especially with how big maps are getting, especially with how wide open the maps are getting and how like spread out the generators are getting. Like Deathslinger definitely needs that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like 2.3, 2.4 would be a good kind of middle ground.
You don't think the fact that the because
I would,
behavior does balance around the fact that add-ons exist.
yes, I would remove reload add-ons as well.
You would just remove
Completely.
them all together and just add it all to
I
base
will
kit.
remove them. I would remove them altogether and add to ammo belt base kit.
Mm.
Honestly, like I feel like that'll be fine because I feel like the whole idea of a variable reload for Deathslinger is probably one of the worst ideas I've ever had for this character. Like
That's
you
actually
should
understandable. Okay.
you shouldn't be going into a case and thinking, does he have wardens or doesn't he? You shouldn't be thinking that. You should be thinking he's reloading. I should fuck off.
Mm.
Like that's the whole problem with variable reload, in my opinion. Like yeah, the reload add-ons do a lot for Deathslinger, but the fact that they do a lot for Deathslinger is the problem. And then also stun. I feel like okay, this is going to be very controversial. I feel like stun at the moment is actually in the best place that it's ever been in at 2.7 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because Deathslinger having a stun that is just as long as a basic attack is a good thing. It means that the only Deathslinger is the only killer in the game where he wastes time using his ability. Think about it.
What do you mean by
So he shoots someone, reels them in, wastes time.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, he is the only killer in the game that wastes time by using his power correctly. That is, he's the only one.
You could argue. Well, okay. I was gonna say you could argue Trickster, but no, not really.
Yeah, Slinger is the only killer in the game that does that. So he needs something to actually get rid of that time waste that he uses using his that he gets from using his ability well,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to like offset that by like taking down some numbers somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So reload, stun, and like movement speed or something. You know.
Right.
So like, and also tell Radius bump that down to 20, 28 or 26. Other than that, he's fine. Other than those like few clinkers, he's fine.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I feel like either make him 115 with a 32 or lower the terror radius. That would.
I feel like you can do both if you do the reload thing, where basically if he's out of ammo and out of case.
Hang on, does haste affect the reel at all?
Okay, so this is the fun part.
I didn't even think about that. Does haste affect the reeling at all?
Okay, so reeling is a movement speed based action.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is the movement speed of a certain party. So the actual chain control, the control over the chain for both Deathslinger and the survivor that he's fearing is controlled by movement speed.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say that you use Sprint Burst and you get speared. Sprint Burst carries over to the spear, So therefore, you have 110% control over the chain. Meanwhile, Deathslinger has -10.
So does that mean that during MFT meta he was reeling people in faster?
No, he was reeling in people, and those people have more control over the chain.
Oh, they have more. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Oh,
if
okay.
the
To the
survivor has more
party. Okay, that makes more sense.
yeah.
Okay.
So if Deathslinger has more control, then he has more control. No, if Deathslinger has more movement speed, then he has more control.
Do you
So if that makes sense.
do you think that's why they don't want to make him 115?
No. So the reason why they do not understand that, and let me tell you why. What was the last change that he got? He got real speed increase.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand. They do not understand reeling. The only person who understands reeling is the person who created Deathslinger, and that is Patrick Harris. Yeah, you know the hockey guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He voices Deathslinger.
I mean, I wouldn't say they necessarily don't understand it, but like I think that like a change like that was probably just to.
They thought that it was they thought that it was gonna make him easier. Meanwhile, it actually made him harder.
I see what you're
I
saying.
understand the thought process behind it, but they do not understand the functions behind the action at all.
Okay.
Like they don't understand that increasing that movement. Like if you this also happens to the add-ons, where basically I made a video and sent it to Ots, and Ots just saying the add-ons are this bad that Ots took the reeling add-ons from somewhat useful to detrimental.
Hmm.
And the reason why is because if you're running base short cigar, the survivor will have base just any time you reel them, no matter their movement speed, no matter if they have MFT, no matter if they have sprint burst or whatever, they will have 20% more control over the chain than you. Literally just because you're running that add-on.
I see.
So anytime you increase the quote unquote reel speed, you're increasing the survivor's movement speed while being reeled.
What does the add-on say the real speed is increased by?
7%.
Additive or multiplicative?
It's additive to the base kit.
What if you have both?
So if you had both, you give the survivor 50% control more.
Well, no. I meant when you have both, does it become multiplicative instead of additive?
No. Both are additive to each other to the base kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for understanding that, by the way, because
Yeah.
math and video games is fucking.
Yeah. Believe me, I looked through Deathslinger's code, and it is a shit show. Like, actually, I do not understand how they actually go to this killer when he's held together by tape and bits of string.
Okay. I'm going to tell you how bad Behavior's math coding is real quick. So,
Yeah.
do you know what portable TV is on Chucky?
Yes, I do. It's the end game.
Yeah. Do you know what jump rope is?
Yes, I do. It's the all game version of TV.
Me and my Discord, we're trying to figure out the math behind these add-ons. So, jump rope is a multiplicative increase.
To the base kit, yeah?
Yeah, to the base kit.
Okay.
Portable TV is also a multiplicative increase. However, if you combine them, jump rope becomes an additive.
So what you're saying is that they're shit at math.
I'm just saying they don't know. Like I don't know what happened. I legitimately don't. How do you change a value like that? That's not how math works.
I don't know. They just did. I guess with the power of God.
Like it makes absolutely no sense. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how that happened. Because we did the math. Yeah. It's the only way. Because it basically increases slice and dice to 4.5 seconds.
Yes.
When you have both of them. That is the only... Because if it worked where they were both multiplicative, it would increase it to 5 seconds.
So you get a nerf just because of the coding?
Well, no. I mean, it's still more. It's just like the math doesn't math. That's all.
Yeah. That sucks. That actually sucks, bro. Like, I'm so happy that Deathslinger doesn't have those problems because all of his add-ons are additive to his base kit. Mm-hmm. All of them. And all of them are additive to each other.
Yeah, it's so like I don't understand. Like that's why when people like I ask the question all the time whenever I see a percentage on a killer's add-ons or whatever, I always ask, is it multiplicative or additive? Because that matters.
The reason why I know that it's additive is because if you look at Prison Crane says that it increases the Crane's health by 10%. It actually only gives you a second, like more of Crane health. So therefore, it's additive.
Yeah.
So it just adds 10% to the 100%.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, does it say buy in the?
I think it's by. Let me see. Because
Because
I did
that's
actually have.
how you're supposed to determine it is by the phrasing. If it says buy and it doesn't have a plus symbol, it's multiplicative.
Wait, Deathslinger. Let me see. Prison Crane. Because I never won Prison Crane, so. Uh, increases the break-free time for survivors from the Redeemer by 10%.
But does it say buy plus 10% or just buy 10%?
By plus.
But okay, if there's a plus, then it is additive. At least it's supposed to be. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, for anyone listening, that's how you know. At least how you're supposed to know. A lot of games still mess that up for some reason.
Yeah.
Especially Daylights.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't say buy plus. You would just say increases plus this whatever. Anyways,
I know that Call of Duty Zombies did that a lot with double tap. Because double tap was like it said, oh yeah, it increases it by a variable percentage. But then people actually went into the code and it was literally just adding a number one.
Yeah. And once again, it's not that big of a deal most of the time. It's just I wish like the wording was correct. That's all. That's all I can. Anyways,
Yeah.
Moving on to
Anyway.
other Deathslinger changes.
Yeah. Going on to add-ons, right?
Yeah, go if you want.
So add-ons. Let's get into this. Firstly, I'm removing fucking reload speed. We shouldn't have a variable reload speed on a character like Deathslinger. Make his reload speed 2.3 base kit and remove the reload add-ons. And please, for the love of fucking all that is holy, please remove cigar.
What?
Please, just fucking remove
What would you change them to?
I don't care. I'm throwing it into the fire.
Well, because that's the thing. We also had to because they have to change it to something, and it has to affect a part of his power.
I did actually make like a full add-on change list to Deathslinger's add-ons. There's some add-ons I wouldn't change. So barbed wire, prison crate, like barbed wire, and holy locust. So those will stay the same. And like Iwi coin. Iwi coin is fine. I feel like everyone can agree that Iwi coin is just completely fine. You can even just take Iwi coin and like lower it down to like very rare, and it will still be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think because it's an exposed, it has to be iridescent.
Yeah, but like what I'm saying is like it's really not that strong.
No, it's not. I'm just saying that tends to be their philosophy. If it's an exposed add-on, it has to be eerie.
Yeah, but basically, like with cigar, one idea that I had was actually this idea comes from Wesker, and the idea that I would have is if you were pulling a survivor to a breakable wall or like a pallet, and you break the crane, it'll break the wall in the crane.
That sounds
so like the tension
overpowered as hell on certain pallets.
But it would increase your stun by 1 second.
Okay.
So like it will still be the action of like you'll still have to waste the time of the action of breaking that thing, but you would also get the deep wound and the injure out of it.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. And then basically you'll have like a 3.75 second stun time instead of the 2.75 seconds, but you would also get the pallet out of it.
I got you.
And then with like Warden's Keys and Ammo Belt. So with Ammo Belt, the idea that I had was any survivor that is hit with a wheeled hit is inflicted with the Oblivious status effect until mended.
Okay.
And the idea behind that is it's literally Deathslinger grabbing sand from his ammo belt and just throwing it into your eyes.
Wouldn't it... No, from a gameplay perspective, wouldn't it make more sense for it to only happen after they mend?
So the reason why it will be growing their mend is because the whole idea of mending for Deathslinger is supposed to be like you let them mend, then you find them later.
Right.
That's the idea behind it. So basically, you can find them easier.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Wouldn't it make more sense though to have it so the Oblivious happens after they mend?
For how long though? Would it be like 10 seconds, 15 seconds?
I would say 20 with how slow he is.
20? Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then Warden's Key is the idea that I had. This one's actually a really big change Firstly, I would fix the whole like ringing thing so it actually happens across the entire body because it shouldn't be bugged. Uh, um, and then Warden's Keys, what it would do, it would take away the range cap on your ringing sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it would increase the spear's projectile speed by 0.5 meters per second.
There isn't an add-on for the projectile speed, is there?
No, there isn't.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's that.
So you could literally, like, let's say they have Dead Man Switch. Yeah, you aim at a survivor through a wall on a map, and they hear the ringing, and they're like, "Oh shit, this thing's aiming at me." They get off the gun, and then Dead Man's happens.
Okay.
So yeah, like the ringing sound would even happen through walls. So if you're good at game sense, you'll just aim at someone like across the map.
There's also like I've talked about this before too. I kind of feel like every killer should have their add-ons in some way, shape, or their teachable perks, as like tiny add-ons. Blight has this. Bubba has this. It's something they kind of, huh?
In a way, I feel like Cookie has that in a way. What?
It would.
Does he?
Which one?
No. I'm thinking about the wrong one. Yeah.
It's something they haven't done in a very long time, but like it's something I actually enjoy because I think it kind of like, not even from a gameplay perspective, but from like a thematic one. Like I think it adds character in the sense of like the teachable is better, but this is how like they can do it. Like I said, Blight has Blood Favor as an add-on. Bubba has Knockout.
It also
as an
explains
add-on.
like the connection to the entity to the killer as well.
Because we'll get a little bit into teachables, but I mean, an Oblivious add-on that would kind of reflect Retribution. I don't know how you would really do one for Dead Man's Switch. What's his third teachable?
Gearhead.
Gearhead. Oh, Iron.
Yeah, Hellshy Iron.
Yeah, Iron is Gearhead. I didn't even think about that.
That was it on release. It doesn't do that anymore, though. It gets you into textable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's dog shit.
Yeah, well, that's why when you were suggesting like the movement speed buff thing, I was like, I would be cool if they just made that what Iron does.
Yeah, Hellshy Iron. The idea that I had for Iron actually was you have limited ammo for the entire trial. Yeah, so you have 45 ammo. You are 115 and you have half the range and half the clean health.
45 though?
Yeah, 45 ammo and that's it, and then your gun's useless.
I would make it 30. 45 is a lot.
Yeah, but you have to think about how much Deathslinger shoots in a game.
Yeah, but if you're good enough, you shouldn't need 45.
True, but power fantasy. That's what you have to say.
Yeah, but you also gotta make it fair for the other side.
But yeah, 30 will probably be better. But yeah, like basically, it's like a one in the chamber kind of thing.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, Deathslinger. When did it wasn't a rework, but when did the change happen to Deathslinger with the ADS stuff?
He was releasing in 2020, and then I think it was August 2021 when he got the ADS change.
Yeah, because it was when Pinhead came out, I think.
Yes, because they had. Okay, this is funny. They had to rework Deathslinger's entire logic for his cranes because of Pinhead. Because they use the same logic.
That makes sense.
So whenever you see the cranes like come off you with Pinhead, it's literally using the same logic that the Redeemer uses for his burning.
Mm-hmm.
It uses the same logic.
Yeah, like I said, that makes sense.
Because it's just easier to code that.
Yeah.
So.
But those changes, for those who don't know, the basic, like, pretty much they made it so he couldn't just quick scope you.
Yeah, he went up from a 0.15 ADS speed in and out. So basically, like putting his gun to his face and putting it down, he had the same time.
Yeah.
But then they upped the ADS in, so putting the gun up to your face. They increased the ADS in to 0.45, 0.65 on that. And then the ADS out is 0.75 or 0.65.
Yeah, and a lot of people didn't like the change. I think people have mellowed out on it over the years, but
Okay,
that's
when
the
it happened,
I
I
stopped
was
playing
bitch.
him. I stopped playing him because of that.
Okay, so I stopped playing him for half a year. I told you about this.
Hmm.
I have been playing Deathslinger for 4 years, but I have had one break from Deathslinger, which has been half a year long, and that was when the ADS speed thing happened. But then I came back to Deathslinger, and I feel like I'm the reason why a lot of people's like opinions on Deathslinger has changed because I'm like I feel like in a weird way, and I'm going to say this without having an ego, but I feel like people take my word on Deathslinger a lot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like whenever I say something about Deathslinger, people normally pout it. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I started saying, I actually still think this to this day. The ADS nerf is not actually a nerf, it's a buff. And the reason why is because for good Death Slingers, it is a buff to us. It lets us think about our shots more. And it lets us do more mind games that we weren't able to do because of instant ADS.
Mm, understandable.
So it's actually a buff to Death Slinger.
Well,
If you actually think about it that way.
I think even back then though, like I said, I stopped playing him because of it, but like I still understood why they did it.
Yeah.
I think
Like
that was the thing. A lot of people were like, why did they do? They did it so he couldn't just basically do what Xenomorph does now.
yeah, like they didn't want Death Slinger to just be swinging around a corner and just go like
Yeah.
shoot you. They didn't want that. But Death Slinger can still do that, but you have to be good at Death Slinger to do that now.
Hmm.
So yeah, like if you know the timing, if you know everything, then Death Slinger is actually stronger now,
I
especially with the ADS walking speed.
I will say that now that I know about it, I do still think that when they got rid of that, I do think the audio cue should be gone.
Okay, the audio queue I think should stay, and the only reason why is because Death Slinger has the fastest projectile in the game.
That's understandable, but I feel like you should be looking behind you to know if he's aiming at you.
Yeah, but at the same time, with the way that loops are going, especially with how randomized they get, eh,
I
I
don't.
could.
He's the only one,
Yeah, he's the only one who has that.
and
Like Huntress has like the whole like shing.
yeah,
So,
but that happens when her thing is fully charged, not when she's aiming at you.
do you think that they should make the coat louder then?
The what?
Like the sound of the coat. So basically, when Dustin getting some sights, you can hear his coat
Oh
ruffling.
yeah, I'd be
Do you
fine
think they should
if
make
there
that
was a
louder?
yeah, I'd be fine if there was a sound effect when he aims down sights. I just don't think there should be. Maybe and this is just a personal thing. I don't think there should be a sound effect for when he's able to shoot you. Like,
Hmm.
let me rephrase that. There should be a sound effect when he raises his gun and is able to shoot you. I don't
Yes.
think there should be one once he's aimed at you.
Yes, I can see that completely. I can see the reason why Behavior did it though, is because he is the only one who needs absolute precision to hit someone.
Like, don't get me wrong. Well, that's the thing. Back when the ADS was super fast and a quick scope, basically, I understood it completely. Like, I get why it was there. But now that he
Yeah,
has to raise it up, and it's not essentially instantaneous, I don't
yeah,
think it's necessary.
yeah. I can see that. To be
Um,
honest,
Once again, it's one of those things where
and
if they never get rid of it, it is what it is. But like, I don't think it should be there. At least in the
yeah.
capacity it is now. Um, and honestly,
Um,
we'll get into this here in a second. As someone who plays zoning Deathslinger, uh, um,
Jesus. Oh.
as someone who plays zoning Deathslinger, if they got rid of that, that would actually hurt my playstyle.
Yeah, because it was actually get rid of the whole like fear of being shot.
Yes,
Like, yeah, and good Death Singers will still shoot you
exactly.
because they don't care.
Yeah,
So yeah, I can see like why. Um, I don't know though. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I feel like it should say. I feel like it shouldn't.
I would love
And
to
there's
see them
there's
try it,
reasons to both.
see what happens if it was gone.
Yeah,
To be fair,
but that's the thing with behavior. They don't try stuff.
we have kind of seen it with it gone with Xenomorph. because
Yeah,
Xenomorph's sound cue is it's there, but it's not. It's so fast that most people can't react to it in a reasonable manner. But
yeah,
what was I going to say? While we're on the subject though of zoning,
yeah,
I think I showed you my video of me using the ADS movement speed add-ons. When I play Deathslinger,
yes.
that's usually how I do it because I find it fun. I know it's not good, quote unquote. I win way
Yeah.
more with it than I probably should. However,
If if you want to play Deathslinger effectively, you do. You do. That's just how you play.
um,
Just gonna say that now. I have no like hard feelings towards people who do so.
mhm.
I do feel like it's dog shit. I do feel like it's a bit shitty. I do feel like it's a bit boring. But at the same time, that's how you should be playing Slinger, and
But
I hate it.
well, it's the thing with like every ranged killer,
Yeah,
except for I guess Trickster is like the only one who's really doesn't do that.
he gets hurt by zoning.
But my question would be because it gets brought up all the time. People are like we don't like zoning and people
Yeah.
don't like it when killers can fake their M2s and things like that. But the question always becomes, well, how do they fix that issue?
Okay, I have actually talked about this before. There's two ways that they could do it. So one way is to force a Death Singer to shoot whenever they get aimed on sights, which is a shitty way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you're aimed down sights, you're not allowed to unaim down sights until you shoot your gun.
Right.
Or you make it so the mist cooldown from your shot is less than putting your gun down.
I actually kind of like that second change, but that
Yeah.
doesn't stop people from zoning though. It encourages them not to, but it doesn't stop it.
Yeah, it doesn't stop it, yes, but it is the closest thing that you can do without ultimately changing Deathsinger's power into a completely new one.
Mm.
So
Because
that's the problem.
it's not just Deathslinger. I don't know why everyone says it's just Deathslinger. Huntress does it.
Yeah,
Pyramid Head
it
does
just
it.
is better at it.
I mean, Pyramid Head. It's almost like, don't get me wrong. I know some really good Pyramid Head players out there, but
Yeah.
most guides on Pyramid Head will tell you that most of the time it's better to zone than go for your power.
If I made a single guide, I would even say like it is better to zone. It is.
Um,
I'm gonna say that.
Even Chucky does it.
I mean, Cookie does it just base kit, just without even trying.
Um, well, no. Just tap your M2. Don't hold it, and he'll go and the survivors will start dodging.
Yeah, I know, but even then, just being in hidey ho just forces people to dodge.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
And then I mean, Xenomorph does it just naturally.
yeah,
Like
Clown does it.
zoning is, and the reason people don't like zoning, um, we can talk about the boring and all that stuff. The big reason people don't like zoning from a psychology perspective, it's the same reason people don't like CC in most games. And
Yeah.
zoning is technically a form of CC. It limits your options, takes away your agency, and makes you feel helpless.
Yes, but it does it without a lot of skill input. I
Exactly.
feel like that's another part of it.
Well,
Like
that part's subjective.
with Death Singer, it is completely skillless.
Well,
We can
no.
agree.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying like
Yeah,
that being the reason people don't like zoning is that's the subjective part.
yeah, that's objective, but I feel like that is also part of it
Well,
as well.
because do you play League of Legends or have you played League of Legends?
I did for like 2 weeks.
I mean, there's characters whose entire kits are designed around zoning.
Yeah, but like the game is made around it. Dead by Daylight is okay. Dead by Daylight is and isn't made around something. It is and isn't, and the reason why is because looping as a thing was actually because of a developer oversight.
Right.
It never was actually supposed to happen. Dead by Daylight at its core was actually supposed to be a hide and seek game, and then people found that boring and wanted to get into a case for the killer, and then they started looping, and then they started balancing the game around looping.
Right.
So like the whole idea of zoning is also a developer oversight because by definition it has to be because casing is also a developer oversight.
But I mean, with how many killers can do it now, I can't believe it's at this point a developer oversight. I feel
Yeah,
like
I know, but
I
I'm
feel
saying
like
by definition
yeah.
is.
I
Yeah,
feel like some killers are designed around the fact that they can zone.
yeah.
Um,
And I hate the fact that that's true, but at the same time, I do have to agree there, yeah.
um, and we can talk about how boring and stuff it is, but like at the end of the day, you can't balance around fun. It's not possible.
Yeah, you can't. But you can at least make it so the options to have fun are more rewarding than having no fun.
Right, but you can't. The reason you can't do that either is because you can't blank. Fun is the most subjective thing on the planet.
Yeah, it is, yes.
What if someone like me has fun with zoning?
So the problem there is I don't know how to say this without being a dick, but I have to say it. The only reason why, in my mind, and I know that it's different for different people, but to me, especially as a Deathslinger main with 8,000 hours on him, I just feel like the only reason why people zone on Deathslinger is because they don't want to learn how to aim. They
Oh
don't
no, I
want to
know how to
learn.
aim. People will see me do it. I just find the zoning more fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But from my point of view, that's what I see. You know,
Oh, I got you.
like yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I don't actually think you're like that, but that's the way that I see other singers. And
I
whenever I see other singers zone, that's the reason why I
Yeah,
zone it.
whenever I do the zoning build, the way I always explain it is I the idea of Pavlonianly it's a big word. Uh,
Oh god.
uh, for people who don't know, who didn't take Psychology 101, Pavlov was the guy who figured out that if you shake a food bag for a dog, they'll start salivating if you do it enough. Um,
Yeah,
so basically,
it's Pavlovian response.
yeah, you're conditioning
Yeah,
the dog to do an action by with another action. Anyways, the idea of starting the match zoning, forcing the
yeah,
survivors to then stop dodging because they don't think I'm ever going to shoot. That's just fun to me.
yeah. I can see that, and that's also the reason why I flex so much. Is because I want people to be scared of my aim. I want people to.
Right.
Like, I want people to be like, "Oh shit, I could be shot at any moment. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared."
But like it's one of those things. Like I said, and this is why and this isn't anything against you or anybody who talks about changes in this game.
Yeah,
I feel like we bring up fun way too much. And I get
yeah, yeah,
why.
yeah.
It's a video game. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. I understand that. The problem is
You also have to understand that I'm someone with a lot of hours on this killer, and I'm someone who has actually seen like the apex of his skill. So
right.
I also want people to get there. So
Right, that's another thing. You know, I notice a lot of times. I forgot. I think someone was tweeting about it the other day or yesterday, actually, about 2v8,
mm,
and how it basically doesn't for like it. People were complaining about 2v8 on Survivor and how well if the game worked properly, people would just want to get better and enjoy 2v8 more. And it's like yes
no,
and no. Like you can't force people to want to get better.
I would say this: if people started learning how strong Deathslinger actually is, if people started learning how to actually play Deathslinger, he will be one of the most hated killers in the game.
He already is one of the most hated killers in the game.
Yes, but he would be even more. Like
um,
people do not understand the shit Deathslinger can do, and half the shit that I know that Deathslinger can do was getting nerfed.
but you know, once again, going back to the whole fun argument, it's like we can't balance around fun. It's not possible
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I completely agree with that. But at the
because
same time, you
I
can balance. I want people to just start learning the killer. That's like my main thing. I want people to learn this killer because I feel like he's fun to learn.
yeah, but
At the end of the
you
day.
can't force people to do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I do understand that, but also at the same time, I am also going to be there because also talking about changes that they could make if they ever wanted to go down that road. You know?
Yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. Like a lot of the things you're saying, I get it. I do. I completely understand. It's just at
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
end of the day, you can't force people to do anything. It doesn't matter how
Yeah,
much
I
you make the
understand that.
design, unless
Yeah, I
you
completely understand that as well.
physically force them to do it. Um,
Yeah, like you literally take them by the neck and go, "Fucking aim, you dickhead."
um, moving on a bit from it. Is that realistically all the changes though you would do base kit and add-on wise?
Yeah, Teachable Perks, there isn't really anything.
You
I
think
feel
all?
like it's with Teachable Perks, it's perfect.
Yeah, I think after the Gearhead changes, I think Gearhead is in a good spot. I think Retribution is a little slept on as a hex perk. Um,
I feel like it's one of the strongest hex packs out there.
well, the thing is because people always complain, oh, hexes are just gonna get done anyways. So why would you bring them? Well, if you bring retribution. You get benefit if they get rid of
And
them.
also, people get oblivious around dual totems.
Yeah,
People forget about that part.
yeah. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, we could
I
wait
think
to still do that.
yeah. And then Dead Man Switch. Okay, here's my thing with Dead Man Switch. I think Dead Man Switch is fine on its own.
Yes. I hate it with Painwise. I hate
Uh,
it with Women Blades. I hate it with all those perks. I hate it.
but there's no way for them to fix that.
Yeah, because of how the game is coded and how the perk was made. Like,
Because I've heard the suggestion of, oh, just make it not work with these perks. You can't do that because then you have a problem of consistency.
yeah. Like, you need to have this perk to work with those perks. You need to.
Yeah, because once again, I said this about when For the People Buckle Up was a thing. People were like, oh, just make it so Buckle Up doesn't work for the people. You can't do that because then people would ask the question, well, why does it work with this then?
Why don't you just make it so Dead Man Switch only happens on the Obsession like it used to?
No, don't do that. Then it would be useless.
I mean, yeah, but it would be better than what it is now.
That's the other. I've heard that suggestion too. I've heard people go back, just take it back to how it used to be. Yeah, you mean when no one used it? Like,
but that's the thing is that behavior trap themselves like this. They do trap themselves like this.
I hear this. I hear that suggestion with so many perks where it's like, oh, just take it back to how it used to be. Yeah, back when no one used it. Okay, so let's have more dead perks.
I bet you were thinking that, oh yeah, the Deathslinger main will say something different. Nah, I don't care about the perks. Well, I use Surge, Pain Res, Agitation, Brutal. I don't use anything else.
Oh no, fair enough. It's just I feel like teachables are something people don't talk about enough with killers sometimes, unless they're like talking to a new player. But like I bring it up because I think it's an interesting discussion point sometimes, especially for especially for killers like Artist who have arguably the best teachables in the game.
And also the unlimited range ability.
Yeah, well, and because like I had Meiji on for Plague, right? And Plague was one where it was like her teachables are perfect, not just like as balance wise. They're perfect for her. All of them work on her.
Yeah, and then you go on to Deathslinger and then Gearhead is only good on people who are outside his range.
Yeah, I mean, Gearhead, like I said, is another one where do you remember? You remember what it used to do?
Yeah, I do. Any time a generator would have a good skill check or great. No, actually, it wasn't good. It was great. Whenever a great skill check was done on a generator, that generator's aura would highlight in yellow.
Yeah, and it was after after you injured.
It was
somebody.
at a 30-second cooldown.
Yes, it was after you injured somebody too.
No, after you hit someone twice.
Was it twice? Oh yeah, it was twice for acting.
You had to hit twice.
God, it was so bad.
And it was only basic attacks as well, so chain breaks didn't do anything.
There is one change I would do to Gearhead. It's a small, tiny change. Give it a sound effect.
Yeah, that's it. I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, just give it a sound effect. Like so when it goes off, like you can start looking around.
What about the sound of like engineer when you miss a skill check? Like you hear that?
What do you mean, like the?
Like you hear the thud of the generator.
Yeah, you know what? I would actually. That would actually kind of be cool. I like that.
Yeah, because it would make sense as well with Deathslinger because he would hear that shit.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that'd be the only change I'd do to like Gearhead is just give it a sound effect. Because not that it's bad, it's just like there's a lot of times I'll use it and like I don't happen to be looking in the direction. I didn't realize it went off. So it would be nice if I could get some, because I've said this before about a lot of perks. There's a lot of perks in this game that are actually pretty okay that no one runs because they have no feedback.
Yeah. I feel like Retribution is definitely one of those as well. Like you know when it's going off, but you don't know when people are oblivious.
Yeah, Languid Touch is kind of a good example of this, but they kind of I've told people I think Languid is going to become meta in a couple months, and I hold to that theory. Well, because here's the thing with Languid that I think people because I told someone this last night and they didn't even know it. Did you know it goes on cooldown?
No, I didn't because I never use it.
Yeah, it goes on cooldown.
Oh. What's it do again? I literally don't know what this fuck does.
If someone deserves a crow within 20 meters of you, they get exhausted.
Why isn't that meta already?
Exactly.
Why? What the fuck?
Because people think you have to run it with spies to get use out of it. You don't.
That'd be perfect on Slinger. What?
Also, fun fact about it, I tested this a few times. If they don't have an exhaustion perk, it doesn't go on cooldown.
Wait, so it's like Painwares, where it literally won't go off if you don't know it's been bugged for a while. I don't know. No, actually, I don't know if this is even like
I think that's intentional.
a
I know what you're talking about. Like if
yeah,
there's
like
no
it won't
gen,
use a stack.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's intentional.
yeah.
Because it makes sense to me.
It's perfect for Slinger as well because you will know. Like this is the thing as well. People don't know this. The scream is directional.
Hmm.
It is omnidirectional, which basically means like you can hear where it's coming from. And you can actually use that to track but it won't be distance based. So even if you blow up a gen that's right next to you and the survivor screams, it will sound like that survivor's across the map,
Mm,
but it would be in the direction of that survivor.
I
So
see.
you can actually you can kind of go by like process of elimination and know what gen they're on, basically.
But yeah, I think Langwind is going to become meta in a couple months.
I
I'm
feel I'm definitely gonna make a vid on that on Slinger. That's
I
actually something I'm gonna do.
I would highly recommend. I've been running it on because one of Chucky's biggest counters is Dead Hard. Um, because I say this a lot of times as a Chucky player, if you know someone has Dead Hard, you don't have a power against that person.
Hmm.
So you're just a 110 M1 killer. There is literally
The,
you
the,
can't fake it, you can't bait it, you can't do anything.
hmm.
Um,
This is the thing as well with Slinger. What do you think Slinger's biggest counter is?
Sprint burst.
Nope. The Sprint Burst is actually something that you can counter very well, very consistently.
I couldn't tell you.
It's actually Overcome.
Oh yeah, that counters the shit out of Chucky too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why is because most of Deathslingers, even good Deathslingers, will normally reel for their first hit.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone has Overcome, they run twice as fast as you for twice as long, and then you're stuck there reloading, even with double reload, and then you have to catch up with them, and then you have to make up double the distance
Exactly. I think
because you reloaded.
overcome. I think actually counters a lot of killers. The problem is that there's a lot of killers who completely ignore it,
Yeah.
and that's why no one runs overcome. Because it counters
Also,
like every
in a
M10
way,
killer or 110 killer that overcome counters.
yeah.
Except,
Deathslinger specifically as well, because
mhm.
counters the fuck out of him because he has to reload. Um, but the other thing as well is life. Life is actually a really good counter to Deathslinger. People sleep on it, and the reason why is because I don't know if you know about this, but do you know about window lips?
Window lips.
So basically, on most maps in the game, there are windows with barriers along like either side of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and those like I call them lips because it's like a mouth. Yeah, you got lips on either side.
Right.
And basically, what you can do as Deathslinger is shoot someone, reel them into the window, and if they have life, you can keep them there because clawing your reel, their like haste actually ticks down.
Hmm.
So what you can do, you can hold them at the window. They have life. They're not able to move left and right because of those lips, and therefore you just wait for their fucking exhaustion to go away and hit them.
Interesting.
And then also on some maps you can actually go over the window lips if you have life, and this is the reason why I say it's counter to Slinger. You can go over those windows if you have life, and Slinger can't hit you.
What was
If
it?
he tries to hit you, he hits the wall.
You cut. You said life, and then Slinger won't hit you.
So basically, if you have life, Deathslinger, you will be able to swing over to one side of the window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be in an area where Deathslinger literally can't hit you. He'll hit the wall.
I see.
So that's also a reason why life actually counters Slinger, and that's on Cauldron Shack, every single Temple of Purgation loop, every single Mother's Dwelling loop, and every single Cold Tower 2 loop. Specifically Cold Tower 2. Cold Tower 1, it doesn't work.
I see.
So yeah.
So I mean, I think it's basically the changes done a little bit, and you kind of went into it slightly with builds.
Yeah.
But typically
Yeah.
speaking, what build do you run? And that doesn't. I'm not saying like I'm going to win build, but like what builds do you usually run?
My casual build that I normally run on stream, I feel like a lot of people kind of power it as well, is Pain Res, Surge, Brutal, and Agitation. People question Brutal a lot.
I like Brutal and Deathslinger.
And the reason why I run Brutal is because Deathslinger is one of the only killers in the game that can counter, one of the only ranged killers in the game that can consistently counter 98% of the pallets in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he can do that easily, without Prison Crane, without Cigar, without any of that. Like, he can do it consistently. For that 2% of pallets that you can't counter, Brutal is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, on Lewies with the God pallet, you can kick it instantly and zone the person even better. And, like, so on and so forth. Like, you can get rid of those safe pallets very quickly and still have an upper hand. Because that one pallet can cost you 2 gens. So, you have to think about it that way.
I feel like Brutal is going to become, because a lot of Weskers run it, a lot of Chuckies are starting to run it.
Deathslinger's run it.
There apparently a lot of Huntresses are starting to run it now, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
I really do think Brutal is going to start becoming more meta.
Yeah.
Just because of how map design is starting to become now.
Agitation is also there, literally only because of endgame.
Mm.
Because in endgame, I am not looking for basement. I am not looking for any like I'm not looking for a level hook. I am looking for a hill. I'm going to hook you on that hill, and you're going to die. There is nothing you're going to do about it, and your friends can cry.
Okay, fair enough.
And then Pain Res and Surge is obvious. Surge is literally Deathslinger's best perk by far.
Yeah, and he probably, especially after the nerfs, I'm assuming he's not the best pop user.
He isn't, no. Because if you try to use pop, you will lose again in the process.
Thank you!
Yeah.
I try to explain that with fucking Chucky all the time. People are like, what do you mean? You can't...
Yeah.
You can't... Listen, can it work? Yes. But...
It can work in a 3-clan situation if you get a hook in that 3-clan.
Yeah, but, like, the problem with 110 killers use... and yes, Chucky has mobility, but even with, like, Deathslinger, who doesn't.
Yeah.
The problem is we can't waste our time going to, quote, the correct gen.
Yeah.
And
we need to stay in our 3-clan. We need to camp.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
And Deathslinger's lucky because he technically counts as an M1, so he can use Jolt.
Yeah, you can use Surge. He can use, all these other perks that are seemingly inaccessible to a lot of other 110 killers.
Yes.
Yeah. He kind of is like Hag, in a way, if you think about it, because Hag also doesn't have a special attack.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of does what Hag does, but better. So, and what I mean by that is that Hag can have a trap on one side of the loop, and she could be on the other. If you activate that trap, it's a 50-50. If the Hag is going to teleport to it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Deathslinger turns that 50-50 into a 30. It's a 70% chance that you're going to die to that Deathslinger.
I mean, it's still a coin flip, technically speaking. But yeah, I know what you mean.
A good Deathslinger, though, is a 90-10.
Well, no, if it's a good Deathslinger, it should be 100%.
Yeah, if it's a good Deathslinger, it should be 100%. If it's like I even say this as well. Deathslinger can reliably counter a long short wall with the pallet down.
So, but before we get into that, I do want to ask you the mandatory question I ask on every single podcast, and I think this is the perfect killer to actually ask this question and maybe get a real answer.
Yeah.
Did the survivor dodge or did you miss?
So this is actually a question that I've actually been thinking about for a very long time. So there's moments with Deathslinger where you should be missing, and moments when you should hit your shot. So let's say that you're camping a survivor. You shouldn't be hitting your shot at all. You do not want to go into that real action. And the reason why is because you go into that real action, you're going to have auto aim hitting the survivor that you shot. And the survivor, if they're smart, is going to walk into you.
Okay.
So what you should do instead is actually something that I like to call tap dancing. So tap dancing is when you shoot at a survivor and miss on purpose. So you're only shooting to scare them off.
Okay.
They are scared that you're going to hit them, and therefore they don't want to go anywhere near that hook because, like, they don't want to lose a health state. They don't want to make it harder for them to save.
Mm-hmm.
So you start tap dancing. If they get even closer, if they're smarter, and then they can start getting even closer, what you should start doing then is start injuring anyone who comes close to your hook. So break your chain, start hitting people, or this is actually something that Deathslinger can do. You can body block a hook with a survivor.
Okay.
Because while someone's speared, they have no interactions.
Yeah.
So what you can do is shoot someone, pull them to the hook, and then no one can save anymore because you're body blocking for both sides.
I see.
So when it comes to the actual thing about, like, did you hit or did you miss, it's very dependent on the situation. But most of the time I missed.
Well, okay, all right. So, all right. Let me lay out. This is the situation I give everyone. And I think Deathslinger is actually a really good killer to do this with. You're in a dead zone.
Yeah.
There's no pallets. There's nothing for them to hide behind. Nothing like that. You aim, and the shot doesn't land.
That's a miss.
That's a miss.
That's a miss because in that situation you should be hitting your shot and you should be reeling in.
So they should never be able to dodge.
Oh, that's what you're asking.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
If you're good Deathslinger, then you should be hitting 70% of your shots.
So okay, but the 30% you miss is that
The 30%,
the 30% that don't land, are they misses or dodges? That's my question.
I would say those are. I don't know. I don't know actually. Holy shit.
I asked this question so much because no one can give me an answer.
I would say it's 40% a miss, 60% a dodge.
What makes it a miss versus a dodge?
So the miss is a mechanical screw up on the killer side. Okay. So basically, what I mean is they overflicked, they underflicked, or they probably weren't aiming well enough. So it's like they actually fucked up.
But but isn't that technically a dodge because the survivor made it so you messed up?
It's a dodge on the survivor's side if they do an action to make the slinger miss. Crouching, moving out of the way, zigzagging, like doing all that.
Yeah.
That makes it a dodge. But for it to be a miss, it has to be that the survivor was doing nothing in their power to stop you from shooting them, but you still missed.
So even if they move left or right, and it looks,
even if
okay,
if they move left and right, then it's a dodge.
It's a dodge. But shouldn't you be good enough to predict the dodge and not miss?
I mean, if we're bringing skill into it, then it is a miss. So that's the whole thing. It's a paradox. It's a very big paradox.
I bring this question. I forgot what started this question, but I brought it up on everything because no one and I'm not saying your answer isn't good. It's just like no one has given me a definitive answer. And the
problem is because it's a paradox. It is a paradox,
right?
In a way.
Well, my question is because when people talk about killers in this game, like Chucky, like Deathslinger, like Huntress, a lot of times they're like, well, it's undodgeable, it's uncounterable, things like that, and it's like. Well, what is a dodge? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say like what I said is like the closest thing that you can get to making an objective answer to that. To be honest, like with it being, if someone was mechanically trying to dodge something, then it's a dodge. If it was if they weren't mechanically trying to dodge and the Deathslinger misses, then it's a miss.
Well, that's the other thing. What if, like with Huntress, sometimes what people will do is they will literally not dodge to make the hatchet not hit.
Then that's a miss, in my opinion, because it was a mechanical screw up on the Huntress.
But once again, shouldn't the Huntress be smart enough to know that they're not going, or good enough to know that they're not dodging and still land the hit?
But that's the thing, is it's also a mind game at that point, so both parties are as good as each other, so you can't really say that. That's the thing.
Once again, this is why I like this question, because it doesn't technically have a definitive answer.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's the whole meaning of a paradox.
But my
paradox doesn't have an answer.
But once again, it's my problem with the way people talk about this game, because like with Deathslinger, for example, in theory, if you're good enough with Deathslinger, you should never miss.
And that's the problem, is that with human
Error.
like taking into account human error, I would say 70% is the highest you could get with accuracy.
Then why do people online always say something is undodgeable?
Because they are shit at statistics and they don't understand human error. Basically, you're gonna say it.
And once again, maybe it's because I play a killer who people constantly say is undodgeable. I miss slice and dices all the fucking time.
Yeah. But to be honest, slice and dice is actually kind of buggy as well. So.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But my point with it is, like, when people say it's undodgeable, I feel like it's same with Huntress. People say Huntress is undodgeable all the time.
Even though she is dodgeable, and so is Deathslinger.
But
so is Trickster.
But the line that they're thinking from is, if they're good enough, they should never miss.
And that's the thing, is that we're talking to a projectile killer. I'm giving you the objective fact that with human error, that you will miss 30% of your shots. And I feel like that's like the human limit.
Right.
It's like you will miss 30% of your shots.
Yeah. So do we? But that's the thing. Do we? What is the percentage we balance around?
I would say if Deathslinger is hitting more than 70%, then we need to do something about his projectile. Basically, that's what I would say.
So if an Ascendant Valorant player who hits 90% headshots comes into this game and plays Deathslinger,
I would say that's a quirk of statistics. That's a quirk of statistics. Like, you can't balance around that one player anymore. You have to balance around, like, what they need to do is what Overwatch does. And what they did was they increased the size of their projectiles and the size of their hit scan.
Right.
And by doing so, they actually started looking at accuracy.
Didn't people hate that though?
Yeah, they did. But then Blizzard actually started looking around, accuracy. Started looking around like hit reg and stuff like that. And they started going, we're going to balance around the knowledge that we want everyone in Overwatch. Not like we want everyone in Overwatch to have a maximum of 70 to 80% accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going above that, then that means that you are A, cheating because of human error, B, way too good at the game, and you are a quirk of statistics, and it's going to happen at some point. You're going to have someone who ascends above like what the devs want.
Right.
Or C, you're someone who is in the Overwatch League.
But the problem there is a lot of people have the mentality that we should balance for the top end. So that quirk at the top should be who we balance for.
We shouldn't. And the problem is that if Overwatch was balanced for the people at the top, which it isn't.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying a lot of people think it should be.
Yeah. If Dead by Daylight was balanced for the people at the top, do you really think the game will be fun? Or do you feel like the game will be rewarding in any way?
Some would say yes.
I disagree with this.
Because a lot of people say the only thing fun in this game is the top end.
That's mostly because of burnout. I will say that.
Fair
As
enough.
someone who has suffered with burnout, that's the only reason why they say that. It's literally because they are so burnt out on the game that they want to take it seriously.
Understandable.
So,
and once again, I need to make this very clear. I don't agree with what I'm saying right now. I'm just bringing up the
points. You're being a devil's advocate at the moment. Yeah, I completely understand that.
Because I think I talked about it with Scooty. It was either it was Scooty. Where I think this game needs to be balanced around the low end solo queue mostly.
I feel like what we should be doing is taking average statistics of the average game.
That's low end solo queue.
Like they are at the moment, and basically balancing around the average end.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is then we get into spreadsheet balancing.
True, yeah, that's a problem. Fuck, man.
Yeah, it's almost
this game is so hard.
It's almost like balancing is a hard thing to do, and we should stop complaining all the time that the devs don't know.
I mean, this is the thing. It's like I can say what I want about Deathslinger specifically.
Exactly.
But I can't say shit about any other killers.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Like I can.
You can't get Scooty on here and start talking about Deathslinger, and you can't get me on here and start talking about Wesker.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of not who we are. Like, of course, Scooty is going to be better at balancing Wesker, and I'm going to be better at balancing Slinger because we play those
Yeah,
skills.
and even like I've said this before with like Otz's tier list video he did what was it, like a month ago.
Yeah.
God, time flies. A lot of mains disagreed with a lot of what he was saying. But the thing is,
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that Otz is one of those people who will listen to those stuff.
yeah, yeah.
You won't.
My point is like the reason why Otz was saying a lot of quote wrong things. I don't think most of it was wrong. I think a lot of it was just the perspective he was coming from because Otz plays like every killer.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
He doesn't play a specific killer. He doesn't. Like, this is the thing, is that when I was talking to him about Slinger, he was like, I never understood how reeling worked. Ever.
Yeah, I
And
explains how Chucky's laugh works because most people don't know how it works.
yeah. And Otz was like, I never understood that movement speed actually changed the claim control.
Hmm.
And now he knows that. Like, he this is the thing with Otz. People view Otz in the wrong way. Otz is not a all-knowing voice of reason. He isn't.
No,
Yeah?
I don't think he
He is.
even thinks he is. So,
Yeah. Otz is the person who you go to get a perspective from someone who is outside of the loop of being a main. That's who you go to. You go to him to get that jack of all trades kind of perspective.
right.
Like, if I wanted to know something about Wesker, like something base, like the base level knowledge of Wesker, I would go to Otz. But if I wanted to know more advanced mechanics to go along with Wesker, I would go to Scooty.
Hmm.
Like, and that's the thing, is like, you would go to Otz for like, you know, base level Deathslinger knowledge, and then you'll come to me for like advanced Deathslinger knowledge, because that's who we are at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
don't expect Otz to know like exact cooldowns, exactly which loops occur, like every killer works at specifically. Um,
yeah,
a general idea, sure, but like,
yeah. Like, Otz won't be able to reel around 98% of the loops like I can.
mhm,
He won't, because he doesn't have the real knowledge that I have from 3 years of Deathslinger.
right.
And I'm fine with that. Like, I'm not going to shit on Otz for being a bad Deathslinger, because of course he's a bad Deathslinger. He isn't a Deathslinger main.
Well,
Like,
I wouldn't say he's a bad death.
yeah, yeah, but like, compared to me, also, you know, like, yeah, like, he, of course he is a Deathslinger who knows the base level knowledge of Deathslinger.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, he's mechanically good at Deathslinger, but he doesn't have the game sense for Deathslinger. You know?
Yeah, I can maybe see that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, you know, when he plays Cookie, you won't be shitting on him for Cookie, because you understand more about Cookie
I,
than he
I
does.
don't
But like,
shit
you
on
go to
anyone
beta.
for unless it's like objectively wrong knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you wouldn't do that,
No.
because you don't expect people to be on the same level as you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's a good way to put it.
yeah, yeah. Like, we don't expect. This is the thing: is that people go like, "Oh yeah, you probably cringe when you see people play." No, we don't. We don't
No.
give a fuck. Like, honestly, like, do what the fuck you want. But obviously, we would like it if you improved.
Like I said, do you know Brand the Mr. Headache?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like there was the guy. Like as long as they're not doing what that one person did, where they were like, "Oh, Xenomorph's tail attack is 10 meters," when it's
yeah.
not. Unless you're
When
saying
they're bringing out
something,
fake statistics, then
yeah,
that's shit.
yeah. Unless like someone's saying something objectively wrong like that, that's when I care.
Yeah,
Otherwise, though, I really don't care as much as like some people think I do. Um,
like if someone came out and said, "Oh yeah, Deathslinger makes an explosion when he reloads," like, bro, what the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
uh, New Halloween event.
That would be sick, actually. To be honest, I would love that. But like, yeah, like, I don't care what people do in Deathslinger. You
Yeah,
know, because as long as you're not saying like, "Oh yeah, you should be running Cigar because it's the only way to play Deathslinger," like, fuck off, cunt. You don't understand anything. But like, you know, like, I'm not gonna shit on people because they're playing in a certain way.
hmm.
I'm obviously gonna try to steer them in the right direction and start nudging them and throwing them into the river if they use Cigar. But like,
I
you
mean,
know,
I think Chucky's uh biggest comparison to that would be like rat poison. Um,
yeah, yeah.
by most Chucky players, we all understand it is his best add-on by a mile.
Would you say that Rat Poison is like a Cookie Cigar then?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. Do you know what it does?
Yeah, it shows you the auras of everyone going slice and dice within 8 meters.
Yeah, 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah,
afterwards too. So that
which is
means
bullshit.
it gets rid of his main form of counterplay of dodging him with line of sight. It gets rid of it means he can use it on the spot to get information, just like know where to hide. And because it's on a 9 second cooldown, it's not that big of a deal. It means after you hit somebody, you can just follow them and know exactly where they're going, where they are in a loop.
Yeah,
That's the three big things. There's a lot of other stuff you can do with it, but it does so much. It is far and beyond his best add-on. However, if someone's running it, I don't care.
yeah.
I'm not
It's
going to
like I don't
say,
care if someone's running cigar. I'll only care if they start saying that people need to run it
yeah, no,
because you objectively don't.
yeah, like, because I don't run rat poison out of principle, but like, if someone else does, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're just crutching on the add-on, or oh, this add-on is so bad, you
Yeah,
shouldn't be running. No, run what the fuck you want. Like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm
um,
just here, just trying to push people in the right direction to learn Slinger. That's all I'm doing here. That's
now,
that's all I've ever been doing here.
Now, if you come up to me and are like, "Well, rat poison is actually not that good," then I might have some words to say.
Yeah, so if someone says, oh yeah, cigar is F tier, like I'll just be horrified. I'll just look at them with a horrified expression and go like, "God, where did you go wrong?"
um, and I guess this leads a little bit into state of the game, because I know you said earlier that you're not happy with where the game is going right now.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like the maps are getting too large. The gen's getting way too spread out. I feel like 110s should be 115 nowadays.
So it's just the map design you're not a fan of.
Yeah, Deathslinger himself is fine.
Well, no, no,
Deathslinger himself is actually in the best place it's been in.
well, not even Deathslinger in specific, but like the game as a whole. You think the game as a whole is fine except for the map design?
Yeah, the map design is the only problem with the game at the moment.
I I would agree. And the reason why I agree, what is the only thing people have been complaining about since Vecna came out?
Maps.
Well, no, other than maps.
I don't know actually. I don't really look into it.
Franklin's demise weave.
Yeah,
That,
actually, yeah.
and my point with this, because I made a whole video about it where I was like, I don't think it's that bad. And if it's the thing, if this is the thing we've been complaining about, this game is in like the best spot it's ever been.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Um,
it isn't. It's actually in a worse spot.
I other than the maps, and even then, I think they're trying to do a better job. I don't
Yes,
envy them with
they
maps
need they
because
need to stop making good renditions of maps. So they need to stop.
the thing with maps, and I've said this before, and I've gotten some hate for saying it, maps need to be, and let me say this word very, very clearly,
Mm.
slightly survivor sided.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because
I completely agree with that.
we've seen what happens when a map is killer sided. Cough, cough, New Haddonfield.
This is the thing, though. I agree with that, but only for Deathslinger, and the reason why is because do you really think it's fair that he should be, reeling around 98% of the fucking loops in the game?
If he can land his shots, yes.
Yes, but like the reeling action is actually kind of skillless.
Yeah, the reeling action is, but like you still have to land a
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, but like landing the shot. This is the thing. If you're a good slinger, then landing the shot isn't the hard part. The hard part, like there isn't any hard part anymore. Like reeling, in my opinion, should be nerfed. I feel like we should have fucking Rickety Crane base kit.
But but here's the thing, right? And this is where the skill expression opinions come in. It's like when Larry just got changed and people were like, "Oh, the skill expression is gone." Um,
Yeah,
Aiming on Deathslinger, or not Deathslinger, aiming on Deathslinger is like the whole skill expression.
yeah,
Aiming on Singularity was never the skill expression to me.
yeah. It was actually the ability to use your cameras to go down sight lines.
Yeah, and to like know
Yeah,
when and where and how. And
yeah.
I had a whole discussion about this with people debating about Chucky's skill expression the other day. It's like I legitimately, and this is nothing against you or anyone
Yeah.
realistically, but I don't know what people think skill is. I legitimately don't.
There's three levels of skill expression in my opinion. There's game sense skill expression, mechanical skill expression, and then knowledge skill expression. So knowledge skill expression is when someone can like sit you down and be like, lay out a map from memory.
Right.
Yeah, that's memory. That's like knowledge skill expression. Yeah, that's like expressing your knowledge. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mechanical skill expression is aim and That's basically the only skill expression we have in Dota. And then we also have game sense. Game sense skill expression is probably like what you'll see 90% of the time.
Right.
Yeah, which is like knowing how like with Slinger, real knowledge is actually game sense skill expression. I would not say that's mechanical at all.
I
I
would
would
just
say it's game sense.
I would call it knowledge, not even game sense.
Yeah, because it's just knowing exactly how your chain works.
Right. But the thing
Like
is, whenever you bring knowledge or games, or knowledge in particular, game sense, people still tend to agree. But knowledge is the one where people, and that's the thing about Dead by Daylight, I actually enjoy the most. The knowledge part is, in my opinion, the most important thing.
yes,
And it's unique in that sense. There's not very many games where that's the case.
yeah, because like this is the thing: being able to spawn into a map and know exactly where 6 is and know where 12 is.
Right.
Like that's unique to Dead by Daylight.
Um.
Like not a lot of other games do. Like what I'm saying with that is basically you should be able to know if a jungle king spawns in front of you, you know that there's an LC wall behind it.
Right.
Like that's where the unique part of the game of the map balance for Dead by Daylight comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that there's so many new maps coming out where that kind of skill, that kind of skill expression is disappearing.
In what way?
Because you will have like, you know, Ormond's loop has been added to all maps. Fucking the little window loop's been added to all maps. Like, yeah, you will know like when they spawn, but at the same time, those are just more variables to add on to something that probably didn't need to be changed in the first place.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think the whole point of that is they don't want the game to get stale.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because I feel like
Yeah.
I feel in this we might disagree on this point, but I think as much as I enjoy, because I'm the weirdo who likes RPD.
Yeah, that does make you weird. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know why I like it?
No, I don't. No, I don't, and I can't fathom why.
Because I know the map. It never changes.
You know what? Fair. But I'm a 110 with limited range and a gun.
So am I. Well, okay, I'm a 110 with a limited range and a knife, but still, like so am I. And RBD is actually one of Chucky's worst maps. Don't get me wrong, I hate it on Chucky. I'm just saying overall on most killers, I enjoy RPD because
I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Because it's consistent. It's the reason I like Hawkins.
Would you say it's balanced?
Would I say it's balanced? No, not at all.
Yeah, but would you say the idea behind it is a good idea?
I think we need more maps that are. I don't think all of them should be, but I do think we need more maps that are consistently the same every time.
So like Larry's.
Larry's isn't consistent.
No, I mean it's consistent in the way that the corridors and main is always in the same place.
Oh yeah. But I mean like the entire map.
Oh yeah, RPG literally never changes.
The palette spawns change a little bit here and there, but not too much. It's basically like the arsenal room, like the palette will either be on the left or the right, but it's essentially the same map.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why Wesker mains like it so much.
It's like I said, I'm a weirdo. It's why I like Hawkins. Once again, that Chucky sucks on Hawkins.
I cannot tell you just how much rage I feel hearing that name, bro.
But the thing is, I like the map as an idea because the idea of a consistent map is appealing to me.
Yeah, they only ever do it for indoor maps.
And like I said, like I think, oh my god, I am seeing a clip of Old Haddonfield.
Yeah, this game was interesting. Like going off like a tangent. This was basically where I had to aim down sight. Like every time I shot, I needed to go into a locker like Huntress. Yeah. So it was a very weird game, but it was fun.
Yeah, it's just weird seeing this map again.
Yeah, and also seeing Slinger on it because no one actually thinks that Slinger was around during this time.
Fucking Nemesis was around during it.
Yeah. Like, people are like, wait, Slinger existed?
Yeah, Wesker was around for it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And also you'll
God.
see like the whole gimmick here. Like I have to go to a locker.
Yeah, I got you. Um,
Yeah.
but like I think map design in general is something they do need to get better about. But like at the same time, it's I don't envy them because I don't know what a perfect map design is. Because everyone says like
I feel
Macmillan.
no, actually, I'm gonna say it. Dead Dog.
You think Dead Dog is a perfect map design?
Yes, I do. Unironically, I think Dead Dog Saloon is a perfect map.
I wouldn't disagree, but I would love to hear your reasoning.
The generator spawns are in the same place. Most important palettes are all in the same place, and the only thing that changes are the structure loops that have wake walls.
Okay.
I feel
Um,
like you should have very minimal. Like if you want a balanced map, there should be minimal RNG. Very minimal.
but that's kind of like the whole identity of this game.
Yes, it is. Yes, but if we're talking about balance, then there should be minimal RNG,
Right.
and
And
that's what makes Deadpool a perfect
yeah,
map.
and I think that's where the problem comes in is like this game is built around the idea that the maps are RNG
Yes, but if we're talking objectively, Dead Dog is a perfect map because it lacks RNG.
for the most part.
Yes, like objectively, like I don't think more maps should be like it. But I'm saying like if they wanted
Mm,
to balance this game, then they should balance it around Dead Dog Saloon. Like
yeah,
yeah,
my only problem
yeah,
with that would be how boring it could get
yeah, it would get boring, and
be,
that's the reason why I'm not saying they should, but I'm
because
saying like
as someone who played, did you ever play Rainbow Six Siege?
yes, I have. I
Yeah.
played like 2 games of it and got bored.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so there was a time when they added in map bans.
What?
So
So how like the offerings in a
yeah,
way.
well, so like three maps would show up, and the teams would vote which maps they wanted to ban, and
Yeah,
whichever one got through the ban is the one that would get selected. Um,
yeah.
and the map pool in Siege rotates, so it was like 10 maps at a time, and then three of those maps would show up in the selection. It's been adjusted now; it's five now, and the reason they made it five is because they showed the statistics. Four maps kept getting selected over and over and over again.
And it was the same shit every single game.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, and not even that. Like every map has four sites you can pick from, and
yeah.
for the most part, people would pick the same two sites every
Hmm.
single time.
So kind of like Battlefield in a way.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and like it was too. That's why I stopped playing the game because of that.
yeah.
I was sick of it. It was, and then it got even worse because they would add, like, people would be like, oh, they need to add more maps and add better maps and stuff like this, and they would, and then people would ban the maps because they didn't want it because they didn't know them.
Jesus. That's
So,
actually one of the reasons why I'm okay with randomization with the chosen map in Dead by Daylight.
because
It's because you're forced to play.
yeah, and it's one reason why I kind of hate map offerings.
Yeah.
Um,
Like obviously, I'll bring in Aswav's key if I was getting clips for like a montage.
I mean, I'm
Obviously, yeah.
I'm doing a thing soon where I'm testing every map on Chucky, so like I have to bring a map offering for that. But like,
Yeah.
I would be fine if they just got rid of fucking map offerings.
Same here,
Um,
honestly.
but like the problem becomes my point with that is that if maps don't have the RNG, I could see it becoming really really stale.
Yeah.
Um,
I
because
yeah,
people
because like
people already complain about the meta being stale
yeah,
because it's the same perks every single match. I mean, now on top of that, making it so the maps are all the same, not all the
yeah.
same, but like are the same every time. Like
Hmm.
like that would just exacerbate the issue.
And that's the problem, especially when you have maps like Garden of Glory, especially when you have maps like let's be honest, there are objectively bad maps in the game.
Yes, there are.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say there aren't.
Nostromo, Garden, even theater, like the cinema map.
Well, actually, I think theater is a map that's actually perfectly well balanced. I just think people play it wrong.
I hate it, so I'm gonna say it's bad.
Uh,
But like, okay, yeah, like objectively, it can be
but
good,
no,
but
I,
like
I I would 100% agree with like Garden of Joy and what was it?
Garden of Glory, fucking, oh fuck, I forgot now. I said
But
Nostromo.
but yeah, Nostromo to a degree. But then the problem becomes, then what about the idea of some killers are better on some maps?
That's a problem as well. Like, do we make it so certain killers get certain maps more often?
No, I don't think we should. I think some killers should just be bad on some maps.
Yeah,
Like I don't understand why that's a problem.
I mm,
Like I
yeah,
legitimately don't, like, it sucks. I get it, but it's like, yeah, some killers should just be bad on some maps. I wholly believe that. Because if
yeah.
every killer was good on every map, then like it just seems reductive to me.
It's like Overwatch in a way, isn't it?
Hmm.
With certain heroes being bad against certain heroes. Junkrat being bad against Pharah.
Yeah.
Diva destroying
Well,
Junkrat,
yeah, because
so on and so
it was
forth.
like like Overwatch. I think is a good example. There was a time like when Overwatch 2 like came out. It was a little bit after when people realized it. Like Widowmaker started getting picked a lot because a lot of the maps that were in the pool were good for her.
Yeah,
And
as she still is.
yeah, but my
Yeah,
I don't really keep up as much as I used to. My point is like the fact that some maps are good for her and some are bad, I think is fine.
yeah.
And I know Overwatch is a different beast because you can change your killer or killers, your heroes on the fly and stuff. But it's like,
With a killer, you can't. You're stuck with that killer for that game.
but like, I mean, like, how
Yeah,
how do you fix the issue of Billy being bad on indoor maps? How do you fix that?
you don't. He's just bad on those maps.
Same with like Huntress. How do you fix the fact that Chucky is bad on certain maps but good, like one of the few killers who's good on Eerie? How do you fix that?
Yeah, like how do you fix the fact that Deathslinger's bad on every single fucking like only good on like 3 maps?
Yeah, exactly. Like
You know?
you. I mean, okay, there actually is a way, and we're going to get into that way later when we talk about maps you love and
Yeah,
hate. Um,
yeah.
because I do there is something else about Dead Dog I actually think is the reason you said it was.
A perfect map.
Yeah, and it's something I think you're thinking about subconsciously that fuck it.
I mean, it is Deathslinger's map. Yeah.
Well, no, not
To
even
be
just
honest,
that. Fuck it. I'll bring it up now. That map was designed with Deathslinger in mind
yes, it was. Yes.
because of all
Um.
the random holes.
So when they were thinking about Deathslinger's power, they were actually thinking there's actually traces of code from his beta stage. And Deathslinger was actually supposed to have a projectile just as big as Huntress.
Hmm.
And during that time, Dead Dog had no holes. Like, sorry about that, but Dead Dog had no holes, none.
Right.
Every single banister was solid, and every single window was like shut. Yeah.
Hmm.
But then they reworked Deathslinger's projectile, and just after that, if you actually like go into the code, you can see that like I think it was December 2019 they changed his projectile from Huntress's to his own,
Hmm.
and then that's when they started adding holes to Dead Dog.
But here's the thing with that, and this is where the question will come in. When they make maps, should they take into account, because Deathslinger is the only one who can realistically do it. Other killers kind of can, but not really.
Yeah, Crooksay can, but he wasn't made to do it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
should they take that into account because of Deathslinger?
no. And the reason why is because, like you said, certain killers should be good. It should be good on some maps, and it should be bad on others. But also, it is extremely hard to balance a map with Deathslinger in mind
I
because
know
Deathslinger's so unique.
exactly.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it because if you balance a map for Deathslinger, every other killer is going to have power creep.
And that's that's
So
that's the thing. It's like like I said, just some killers just have to be bad on certain maps. It's just how it
yeah,
is. Now, the ones that killers are like objectively terrible, all killers are objectively terribly bad on, like Garden
that's
of
cool.
Joy, like Nostromo, um,
Yeah,
uh, for one reason
those
or
those are
another.
objectively bad maps.
Um, However, like we were saying earlier, I do think the map should be survivor sided slightly because that is
Yeah,
their main defense against a killer. Um,
yeah,
But I think Garden of Joy and Nostromo. Honestly, I wouldn't mind Nostromo if the collision was better. But that's a whole like other separate issue with the game. Um,
hmm.
that's why I hate RPD with Chucky. There's just random shit in the way of every loop.
Yeah, the reason why I hate Swamp on Deathslinger is because of the random collision that they added to the map.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Yeah.
random points where your cane will just start burning out of nowhere, even
Yeah.
though it's not even touching anything.
Swamp is on the docket though to get the rework.
Yeah,
So hopefully
and I'm happy
soon.
about that, and I hope they don't fuck it up.
Yeah. I don't know any killer who likes Swamp.
Okay, Deathslinger is good on Pearl, but
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
every other, like, Pantry, he's dog shit on. He's
Mhm.
completely dog. So, it's kind of give and take with him.
I don't like
He,
it on.
he He's
I,
good on one indoor map as well.
well, is it Larry's?
Nope.
Hawkins?
Nope.
It's not RPD, is it?
Yeah, it
He's
is RPD.
he's good on RPD.
Yeah, he is. I only hate it because it's just like a fucking pain in the ass to walk around. If you get the one where the armory is closed, so like you can't move past the armory,
Uh huh.
if you get that map, it is the strongest map in the game.
So I mentioned this when I was talking about doing my matches to get stats for all the maps on Chucky.
Yeah.
I mention this all the time. You know how we all hate Gideons?
Yep. I hate Gideon because actually, upstairs Gideon I like.
Well,
Downstairs Gideon I hate.
here's the thing with Gideons. Did you know statistically speaking, it's killer sided?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah. That's
it's
the
always been killer sided. It's always been killer
that's
sided.
the thing with when people bring up like and I understand why they do, but it's like I've said this before with like Area Crows also. I've done the testing. I've watched other people's streams and done the math. Erie is killer sided.
Yep. Do you know? Okay, what do you think objectively is Deathslinger's best map?
He's objectively his best map.
Yeah, it was spicy.
Is it Gideon's?
No,
What is it?
it isn't Wecker's Yard. It isn't Wecker's Yard either.
No idea then.
It is actually Gas 7.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's Gas 7, and the reason why is because Gas 7 actually has a lot of structures where Deathslinger, it seems that Deathslinger can't actually play around and people actually think are safe, therefore luring them into a false sense of security, and then Deathslinger can kill them easier.
I see.
So, yeah, Gas 7 is actually his best map, even though ability-wise, consistency-wise, Deathslinger's best map is actually Wrecker's. But if you're talking about the mental side of stuff, it's actually Gas 7.
I see.
Yeah. If we're bringing like mental warfare into it, then yeah, it's Gas 7.
I mean, once again, I say this a lot with other games too. Like in Valorant, the map I haven't played it much in a very long time, but the map I hated the most
Yeah.
was Fracture. I hate that map.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it Fracture too
Yeah.
because I use the main chamber. So
But I looked at my stats, you know, when they give those out every season. I won 90% of my matches on Fracture.
yeah, it's just because like people view boring as bad.
Well,
They do.
it wasn't even it wasn't even that Fracture was boring. I just hated the map. I hated that I had to watch 4 directions.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You think of one negative thing, and then you think the entire map is bad.
Yeah, but I won
Yeah.
it more often than not. So clearly, it's not like clearly I should like the map.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that fun also takes into account, even though fun is very, subjective. It is something that also skews people. Like I hate Larry's, even though Larry's is actually. Sorry. I hate RPD, even though RPD is actually a good map for Slinger.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just hate it because it's just a pain in the ass to walk around.
Yeah, I hate Larry's because for Chucky because of all the windows, and that's like his biggest counter is windows.
Yeah, but also like there's probably a map that is good for Cookie that you hate, but it's still good for him.
Trying to think of one offhand. Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawkins.
Yeah.
And then there's also what else?
Midwich.
Midwich, yeah. Midwich as well.
Chucky does decently well on Midwich. I just hate playing as him because you can't play most of the loops. You just have to brute force them all.
And like that's the thing is that we have one thing wrong with the map, and then we just view like the entire map as bad.
Yeah. Well, and once again, I think that's the dilemma behavior has with making maps is like because the other thing with it is most people when they say like they want better maps, they never add a qualifier. They're like,
they never actually give any objective criticism.
Yeah, they're always like, oh well, I like this map, but they never say why.
Yeah, and like that's the thing with us. Like we're like I'm gonna say like you and me, like the way that we kind of like talk about stuff and the way that we kind of like view stuff is like what behavior wants more than anything. Like we are just people who kind of actually put points up, like
Well,
with what we're talking about.
I try to.
You know?
I'm not going to be some messiah and be like, oh, actually,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm not saying that either. But what I'm saying is like if behavior came up to us and we're like, oh yeah, we need some objective criticism, like we would give it at the end of the day.
yeah, but
And like not a lot of the community actually does that. Not a lot of community would do that.
yeah, like my one change to Gideon's, like I think Gideon's is a good, and people have brought this up before. Um, I would be fine if they replaced some of the palettes with windows somehow.
Yeah,
That's really all I want. I just don't want to be kicking pallets the whole time.
I mean, I
That's
just want Windows so I can actually use my fucking gun.
oh that too. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah,
of pillars you just can't do anything on the pallets.
yeah,
Um, Same thing with Larry's. It's like my biggest problem with Larry's. I've said this before. You know the corner tiles.
yeah,
I hate how RNG dependent they are on if the door is open or not.
yeah. Because like you'll have a window next to the pallet, and it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do anymore?
Yeah, because
Like,
it's like they because of how the RNG goes, it's either a useless palette or a god palette, and I don't like how RNG that is.
yeah.
Um,
And that's also a reason why it's so strong against Slinger, is because you just have windows and windows and windows. But
mhm.
also, like I said earlier with the window lips, Lois is one of the maps that doesn't have them.
Ah,
Every single window is slippery. You can actually slip away from Slinger reeling you and not get hit on those. And also, yeah, you can shoot through that tunnel booth.
yeah.
Still.
It.
I
um,
love having this video in the background just so I could go like, oh yeah, you could do that, by the way.
it's one of those things. It's and you know when we were talking about you can't design maps for every killer because like I said
Yeah,
you're sitting here saying Larry's is actually pretty okay for Deathslinger, but like I
yeah,
can name 3 or 4 killers who just can't play Larry's at all.
yeah. Because like Deathslinger is one of those unique killers that is just good on the maps that everyone hates.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't think a lot of people actually like Sheltered Woods.
Mm-hmm.
No, not Sheltered Woods. Not Sheltered Woods. Fucking Suffolk Bit. Not a lot of people like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's one of Deathslinger's top 5 maps.
Well, I mean, Area Crows for Chucky. That's a good example I always bring up. I still hold the opinion, and I'm about to find this out later this or in a couple weeks. I still hold the opinion
Yeah.
Erie is his best map.
Yeah.
But
Are they reworking it or something or clinching it?
no, Erie, no. I think they said it's in the docket again. I doubt
Oh,
it.
okay.
I hope not.
I hope so because what fucking hell I hate the map and Slinger, bro.
Um,
Um,
but I mean,
but yeah,
the reason why it's good on Chucky is because all the loops are 90-degree angles.
yeah,
And there's so much shit in the way that he can. There's simultaneous, unlike like RPD, where that also has a bunch of stuff in the way. It's all tall stuff. It's tall stuff that he can slide around.
yeah.
So not
And
only
then
can you use it to block line of sight, which is a huge thing with Chucky, you can use it to actually use your power properly at most of the loops. But
yeah,
for
and
most
then
killers, it's bad for them because of that exact reason.
I mean, to be honest, it's decent for Slinger for the same reason if you think about it, because
Mm-hmm.
Deathslinger can shoot over everything.
Right.
Everything's mid height, so you know,
It's like
like he can.
it's like the mausoleums.
Yeah, I mean, even with the mausoleums, like this is the thing is that people look over one. Okay, I don't know if you're gonna ask this later, but if you're gonna ask anything about tech, actually, yeah, I'm gonna say this now. So there's one thing. This actually goes into like the whole thing about you about like Death Singer and stuff, and like it state the game. So you know what staggering is, yeah?
Kind of. Go ahead and explain it.
So basically, when a survivor falls from a great height, they are stuck.
Oh.
They are
Mhm.
stuck for a certain period of time, staggering.
Yes.
Basically, they cannot vault. They cannot vault. They cannot move at their full movement speed, and they have to sprint up to their maximum movement speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Deathslinger can force that.
Yeah, because he can pull them.
Yeah, but this is the thing: is that you have to be good at Slinger to know how to do that because balance landing and stagger does not happen if the survivor is speared during the fall.
Right.
And the reason why is because of the way that falling is coded. Falling is coded from you falling off a ledge. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The moment that the ground is lower than the ground that you were on, then the game will force you to fall. That's the reason why if you get disconnected from Deathslinger's train while you're in the air, you do not have a falling animation and you do not stagger.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have to do is pull someone off a ledge, and the moment they get fall off that ledge, you let go of the crane and then you hit them while they fall, and then they have the stagger.
Right.
So the thing is that basically, Deathslinger can do that, and the reason why I'm saying that is because it actually makes him really good on Erie. Because think about the main building.
Yeah, main building and the random hills and even the ditches.
Yeah, Deathslinger can force a stagger on all of those and kill you instantly, and you have 0 counterplay.
Interesting.
Like, there's nothing you can do as a survivor. And honestly, people will actually hear me say something like that and go like, "Oh yeah, that shit needs to be removed." I don't think it should. I think that shit should stay.
Well,
Honestly,
I think this brings into the I think it's a good segue into the idea of techs slash exploits and things like that. And
yeah,
behavior has been slowly but surely trying to remove a lot of them. And
yes.
the question becomes, there's two questions arise. Should they,
Mhm.
and why are they?
So should they is like the whole thing that I'm going over in my video,
Mm-hmm.
which is hopefully going to come out by the end of either by the midpoint of August. And one of the questions I ask is tech a nuance? Is a tech nuanced enough to be rewarding for people who have learned it?
But isn't that subjective?
Yes, but at the same time, when you're asking people who have learned all of these techs, they normally agree that a lot of the nuance to the game should stay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why I'm asking some people who have mastered techs, Scooty, Alvan, Code, and so on and so forth. But I'm also asking people who play killers that have 0 tech. And this is the thing: as Deathslinger, I only have 2 techs: Stagger Tech and Crane Tech. And Crane Tech as well is basically Stagger Tech, but you break your crane. Um, so like that's the reason why I'm asking, and I want to know exactly what people want out of behavior removing or changing tech. Is there a good middle ground we can get to where the community and behavior are on the same page?
I think Scooty was on here. We were talking about it, and the way both of us agreed with it is, I feel as long as behavior codifies it and makes it part of the power in some way, and makes it intentional. Like
Yeah,
I think blight hug techs are a good example, right? Behavior has already made
yeah,
their stance on that, right?
yeah.
And the thing is, though, if they made it intentional and part of the power, and like balance around it being part of the power, I would have also been
Hmm.
fine with it. But I understand why they got rid of it.
So there's one thing that I do want to ask though. What do you think? Like, as someone who doesn't play Slinger, and you probably never knew about Stagger Tech before I said something about it.
Uh-huh.
But do you think that do you think that Stagger Tech should be codified?
Yeah, I think that's fine. And the reason why I think that one's fine is because it's niche.
Yeah, and also it abuses a mechanic that is already codified into the game.
Exactly. Because
Yeah,
that's not really so much a Deathslinger tech as, and I think I
it
think
is
I
because
think
it
I
abuses
think
against itself.
that is the thing. It's not
Yeah,
exactly a Deathslinger specific. Technically speaking, it's not exploiting something Deathslinger does. It's exploiting how the game is coded.
yes,
Um,
but also at the same time, you could also say that it makes Deathslinger a bit too powerful on certain
in
maps.
very specific situations.
Yeah, and that's like where I think a tech should be, in my opinion. Like it should make killers more powerful in a certain situation, not
Well,
all the time, but in a certain situation. If you
but
give them that situation, they are more powerful.
because I mean, like Chucky had the scancels, right?
Yeah,
And they still exist to a degree, not like they used to though. Um,
yeah,
and my opinion on them was always, well, all the clips you see, and I think part of it is that. I think part of it is the clips from them.
yeah,
Because if you follow someone like Smithsonian who shows off like Scansel clips like every day, you
yeah,
would think it's like the best thing in the world and so good. But even talking to him when he was trying to teach me them, um,
yeah.
they're only useful in like 2% of situations.
It's like when you see me play Slinger and see me like flick and see me like abuse like stagger cancel and all that. Like you like people will normally see these clips and be like, oh yeah, Deathslinger's like super powerful. He isn't, in my opinion. He's like probably bottom of A.
Mhm.
You know, like like his tech, his nuance does not make him more powerful than someone who zones.
But
You know,
but the question with that with the codifying thing always does come up in the sense of how do they code it? What is the fine line to make it something that can be codified? For example, with Blight Hug Tech, I still hold the opinion that Blight is much better to play for a normal player after that
yeah,
change because his collision in general is better now.
yeah. Even though if you talk to an actual blind main, it's arguably worse. But
But that's the
we won't
thing.
get into that.
Should we be doing that for the dedicated mains, or should we be making killers better for the average player?
I feel like it's. I feel like we should find like a good middle ground. But that's the problem. Is that behavior's in such a position that they don't know who's good at their killers. If that makes sense.
But like,
And
but I bring up the hug tech because that's one that behavior has definitively made a stance on. But like I
yeah,
said, if it did what it was supposed to do, they wanted his collision to be quote better for the average player. That was
yeah,
their goal. That was their objective,
yeah,
and they accomplished that. Now it does suck for the blight mains. I understand that, and I feel for them. Trust me, as someone
yeah,
who had 180s taken away, even though I think they should have been taken away, um,
yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, kill the few to save the many.
I mean, to be honest, I'm gonna say it. If they made it in some way that aiming for Deathslinger was at least a little bit easier, of course I would be kind of against it because I'm this big aiming Slinger who's always been flicking and everything. But like at the same time, I would understand the reason why they would do it because they want more people on Slinger.
Right.
You know?
Well, once again, I think something that often gets lost with this, and I'm not saying you're part of that, but I think
Yeah,
people
yeah,
people this is every game company.
yeah,
They are a business.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
As
understand
much
that.
as
Yeah,
we like to think, oh, they work on this game because they love it. Most of the developers probably do. I'm not saying they
yeah.
don't.
Like obviously the developers don't care about like. I'm gonna be realistic here. Deathslinger came out 4 years ago. Of course, I don't fucking care about him.
But
Like
but
he
but
doesn't make money for the company anymore.
but that's
He
the
doesn't.
that's the thing. They don't want him to not make money either. So they
Yeah,
will. So like if what is his pick rate at right now? Do you know?
I think it's around like 30 or
30,
something.
30?
Yeah, I would say it's low. To be honest, I don't see a lot of slingers.
Do you mean? Oh, hold up. Okay, all right. Just
No, I
to
mean
give
in
you.
my personal
Well, no,
experience.
no. Just to give you an idea,
Yeah.
Huntress has the highest pick rate in the game at 6%.
Oh, oh, okay. So I would say he's like around four.
About
Then
4. So he's higher. So
four.
you think he's higher than Chucky?
Oh, nah, probably like three then. Sorry,
Yeah, no,
I'm
that's the
really
thing.
bad
That's
at
the thing
this.
with the pick rates. That the numbers are
Yeah.
actually surprisingly low. Just to give you an idea, the lowest pick rate character in the game is Hag at 0.1%.
Yeah, that's got me Peach Wings.
Yeah,
Literally the only person who plays
Ch-
that.
Chuck Chucky is at 3.5.
Yeah, and
Um,
like, so I think he's just above Cookie, so probably like 3.7.
you know what? I don't know why I'll look it up.
Look it up. I don't know. I main Slinger. Like he's the only killer I play for. Like,
But you know, let's say it's a killer like Twins, and this is the thing with the Twins rework, for example. As
hmm,
much as everyone hated it, don't get me wrong. Like even the people who like everyone agreed that one was bad. But
yeah,
um, um, the thing with it is they can't have killers that no one plays.
yeah, they can't.
Slinger is
Like
Slinger
if no one
is
plays Slinger, then
one, two, three,
you know he's objectively like a bad thing for the business.
8, 9,
Obviously.
10, 11. He's the 11th most played killer at 3.31%.
What?
Yeah, he's right under Ghostface.
What?
Yeah,
What?
right above Trapper.
Holy shit, bro! I need to change that. I need to start screaming more.
Um, the number one is Huntress. Number two is Wesker.
I mean, 11 is actually decent though with the amount of killers in the game.
Chucky is at 5. Legion's at 6. Wraith at 7. Michael Myers at 8.
This is going off. This is going off.
Nightlight. And for
Nightlight. Yeah.
anyone who says, well, Nightlight isn't accurate because it's self-reported, listen, if you have a better way to find the stats, go right ahead and give them to me. I would love to.
If you work at behavior, give us some. Come on.
This is the best we
Come
got.
on. Come on. If you work at behavior, leak it. Leak that shit. Come on. That's okay if you lose your job.
I was actually incorrect. Hag is at 0.9%.
Yeah, that's gummy. I'm probably three of his
Just
friends.
gummy.
Just gummy, and like 3 of his friends.
But even the other thing with it is like Artist is the 31 least played killer in the game at 1.5%.
I feel like there's a reason for that though,
Why?
because Artist actually has like a skill flaw.
Understandable, but at the same time, it's like but it's Nightlight. Most of the people on there are people who play the game regularly.
Yeah, and they don't like playing Artist because there's a skill flaw.
Maybe.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's actually probably what it is. But
yeah,
you know, the thing with that is like I said with Twins, it's like behavior feels like they need to rework Twins because if barely any or in Hag, it's like if barely anyone is playing these characters, they're just wasting code, wasting time, and they don't make money off of them.
yeah. If Chains of Fate doesn't make money, then they're probably going to change Deathslinger.
Like it's one of those things, and it's like I think it's something a lot of us forget about. It's like Singularity, I think, is another good example. It's like a lot of people were like, why did they even rework him? He was fine. Even if he was fine for the people who played him, they had to find a way to make him more appealing to play.
Yeah, they have to think about the bottom line as well.
And it's unfortunate and it sucks, but like it's just something they have to do. And
Yeah,
but the thing is, if they do it with more killers, it means they can release niche killers like Larry and it'd be fine. But the
like
problem,
Deathslinger as well.
yeah, the problem with like
Yeah,
the problem with like Singularity in particular, it wasn't even necessarily Singularity's fault. It's that we went from Skull Merchant to Knights to Singularity, all three
yeah,
niche characters. That was the
yeah.
problem. That's why all
And
three of them have had to be reworked. It's because they all released simultaneously one after another.
yeah, would you say that Wesker is also one of those niche killers as well?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. So Wesker's just like a jack of all trades, would you say?
Yeah, I would. Wesker is extremely popular.
Yeah. That's fair. I
Um,
was just wondering like what you would think about that.
yeah, no. I think people who play him for the text and stuff is niche. I think it's way more niche than
Yeah.
people realize. Um,
Where would you put Slinger then? Would you put Slinger as niche?
uh,
Because arguably
no,
he's good at everything.
no, I wouldn't put him as niche, and mostly because I know a lot of people who play Slinger pretty regularly, good or
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, man with gun is an appealing archetype.
yeah. But also at the same time, gameplay wise, he's actually good at everything as well.
Yeah, he's also like we can talk about the nuances and stuff all day. At the end of the day, he's pretty simple to understand.
Yeah, and also he looks cool.
Yeah, like
So,
like at the end of the day, like we can talk about real speeds, exactly which loops he works at, and all this stuff. At the end of the day, he's me shoot person, me hit person to the average player. it's not me trying to demean or to disregard anything you've said. It's just for the average person who plays this game, that's what Deathslinger is.
Yeah, sorry about that. My mic died.
Oh, I thought you took a I thought you took offense to
No,
something
no,
I
no,
said.
no, 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 no. Basically, if I tap, my mic dies. I- so yeah. Sorry about the instant loss in quality. Just
You're
we
good.
need to put up with
You're good.
that. But yeah, it's just when making a killer, you have to be thinking about the archetypes, about the story around them, and you have to be talking about their ability. And Deathslinger got very lucky with his ability, with his story, and with his archetype,
Mm-hmm.
because he is a very unique archetype. Like we were talking about earlier, there's never been a cowboy horror thing.
That I know of.
Deathslinger is probably Deathslinger is probably like one of the few that works, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we got very lucky with him, and we the problem is though is the fact that more people are looking towards the gameplay of Dead by Daylight instead of the like more people are looking towards the gameplay of Dead by Daylight more than the actual character design. People are like most people who play Wesker at the moment probably don't play Wesker because it's Wesker. They probably play Wesker because of his text or because they saw Scooty's clips.
I don't even believe that. I
I
legitimately don't, and that's nothing against Scooty. The reason I don't believe
yeah,
that is, I talk. A lot of us talk about how we're in this bubble sometimes. Do you
yeah,
know what percentage of people who play video games go online and watch videos about video games?
about 6%, right?
It's no, it's 2.
2. I was close. I was close. I was
So,
only halfway.
do you think that the reason Wesker is played so much is because all that 2% watches all those clips and wants to replicate them?
No, actually not. Yeah. So yeah, it is literally because it's Wesker.
Well, I don't even think it's just because it's Wesker. I think Wesker is just in general fun.
Yeah,
Like
but
I
then
mean,
you also have to take into account that Resident Evil is probably one of the biggest horror franchises out there.
yeah, that too.
So
It's same thing with Chucky.
yeah,
Like,
most people just come from the movies and just go like, "Oh yeah, Cookie, yay!"
well, no, not even the movies. I think it's just because Chucky himself is fun.
Yeah, and then Deathslinger has no outside media,
Yeah,
so Deathslinger's just kind of stuck in his own bubble now.
but he's also once again man with gun.
Yeah, but also at the same time, the only people who are going to consistently play Slinger are the ones that are going to be seeing the clips online.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
but the thing is, like, I think we're also like getting into the territory of mains versus average players
Hmm.
because average players, like, the ones we don't really
That's where
see
the
or
money comes in.
interact with, they don't really main a character.
Yeah, they just they just flip flop between like character to character. That's
Yeah,
just what they do.
it's just how they're feeling that day.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Meanwhile, with like someone like me, I would just only play Slinger. 'Cause, you know,
right, right. I mean, no
um,
offense to this, as someone who probably also has autism. I think that's also part of it.
yeah,
um, like I've said this before. Like, I mean, you know what Deathslinger fishing is, right?
yeah, I do. Yes,
Yeah, I do that for hours.
yeah. The thing is with me though is that I'll just like go into a game and just see how far I can push Slinger. Just
Hmm.
see how far I can push him to see just how far his just see how far I can push his kill rate. That's literally the only reason I play Slinger. I want to see just how lethal he can be.
Right,
You know, I want to see his lethality kind of like increase. I want to see his lethality just like get like go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher.
right.
So I just I want to see just like how far I can go with him. That's like
Because
the main reason why I keep playing him.
and this comes back around to the whole tech talk. It's like at the end of the day, most people aren't even doing these techs, and
Yeah,
I think that's why behavior is trying to get rid of a lot of them.
I've actually talked to Osu about this as well, and Osu and me actually agree that we are probably the only two that abuse stack attack
Yeah,
in the entire game.
yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
Chucky has a I don't know if it's removed. I haven't tested it in a while. He has a tech called the the slice and drop.
yeah. I was talking to Holotomy about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like you like I think they got rid of it, but it's like, that was like a small thing that no one really talks about, but it's like barely ever use it. Not because it's
Deathslinger
not.
actually has something similar, where basically if you aim down sights while dropping, Deathslinger doesn't do his falling animation.
Oh,
So you actually have perfect accuracy while falling if you aim down sights after you start falling.
that's a general thing in games actually.
Yeah,
Most
yeah, yeah.
most first person shooters actually have that. Like I play a lot of Destiny. If you fall from like if you're ADSing and you fall, your gun will shake, but it'll still shoot where your crosshair is.
Also, small thing, no one notices this, but I'm going to say it.
Mm.
Deathslinger, for the first 1.6 seconds of him aiming down sights, he will not move his gun.
Hmm.
And the reason why is because you're supposed to use the top spike on his gun as a crosshair.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he literally won't move his gun for the first 2 seconds as you're aiming down sights.
Huh.
After that, he will start bobbing his gun up and down because you're not supposed to be aiming more than 2 seconds.
I guess I wonder if I mean we were talking about zoning earlier. I wonder if they made it more severe, if that would kind of fix the problem.
Probably they were probably thinking about that when the game released. Yeah, no,
Um,
well, not game, but when the killer released. So yeah, they were probably thinking about that because that's like a base kit thing that he's had since King's Fate.
yeah, and going back to the whole tech talk though, it's like the one question that I think people fail to answer a lot of the times is the why.
Yeah,
Why is behavior trying to get rid of all the techs? And once again, I think it should be on a case by case basis. But at the end of the day,
they were company.
like yeah, at the end, well, not even just that. At the end of the day, it's like if they want their game to be simple, who are we to say it shouldn't be?
Yeah, because we're literally just the people who play the game. We're
Yeah,
not the developers.
and I hate saying this, but if we really don't like the direction it's going in, stop playing the game.
Yeah, yeah, like speak with your wallet and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, stop
money.
buying the DLC and everything.
Yeah, and people still do it, and that's when it gets. That's when I get mad about it. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's like I saw so many people complaining about the bugs the past couple weeks, and I still saw people buying skins. Those
yeah, yeah.
same people.
Anyway, going on to the next question. Should we do that quickly?
Yeah.
Because we've been stuck in this question for quite a while.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Deathslinger's power level. Um.
So this is a strange one because, like you were saying earlier, a lot of people misjudge his power.
Mhm.
A lot of people, and I feel like a lot of the reason why is because people are like, "Oh yeah, he can zone well, yippee!" But like Deathslinger, other than zoning, when you're actually shooting his gun, I would say Deathslinger is stronger than zoning.
Right.
He is. And the main reason why is because he can control where he downs people, and Surge comes into effect. So if we're taking into account add-ons, perks and stuff like that, then Deathslinger is actually stronger when shooting.
Mhm.
So it's very dependent on if we're talking about this like power level here, is a Deathslinger shooting or is he zoning?
Well, I think the other problem with determining it is we talked about it earlier though a little bit is how much are we taking margin into error into account?
So let's say that this is like like someone who's like at the apex of Deathslinger's power can hit 70% of their shots.
Mhm.
Is using cigar, is using zoning, is on the best map that they could ever be on, and they have perfect RNG. Best case scenario, no matter
Yes.
what.
Hmm.
Yeah. Then Deathslinger is top of A tier.
Right.
He's one of the top 10 killers in the game.
Hmm. But
But taking into account human error and the base skill of everyone in Dead by Daylight, if we're talking about the normal slinger that you would normally see on like in pubs, using double reload, using being on a middling map, so like Cold Tower, and like everything's like 50-50. Like every loop is a 50-50, and the Deathslinger isn't really that good at real knowledge. Then Deathslinger is around B.
so the
I would say.
question becomes: do we take the average of those two?
Yeah, so I would say like bottom of A tier.
Okay. I
Yeah,
I
I would
I,
say that
I can see
Deathslinger's
that
power level is bottom of A tier. Yeah,
because
for like everyone.
I think once again I think you explaining it that way is the problem with most tier lists or most people when they talk about power in this game, power levels
Yeah,
anyways. Most people don't add a qualifier.
yeah. and I
because
feel like you need to take from both ends.
well, it's not even from both ends. I think Deathslinger's a good example of the whole idea. Well, are we talking about the 1v4 the 1v1 chase, or are we talking about his 1v4 his chance to 4K?
Um, I feel like most people will say chance to 4K, then Deathslinger is B tier,
Right.
just by definition, because he has no map pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if we're talking about the 1v1, then he's one of the top 10 killers in the game.
Exactly. So
So
that's why it's so hard to. That's why a lot of tier lists look the way they do. It's like, and why I think no one can agree because I think everyone has a different qualifier.
yeah, I feel like everyone needs to kind of like take into account like the 1v1 and the 1v4, because like I would say this: do you think Cookie is better in a 1v1 or better in a 1v4?
1v1, 100%.
Yeah,
Um.
and then we also take into account Legion.
Mhm.
Legion's better in a 1v4.
Exactly. Or Sadako.
Like they suck in a 1v1.
Yeah.
They have nothing in a 1v1.
It's
So
and what it's like Tofu did the tier list also like a month ago. And I don't remember if he even qualified it, but like looking it over, and I think he's stated he was talking about the 1v1 potential. And I think that's why people had a problem with that tier list, is because he never made that apparent.
yeah, but that's the reason why like um why like making a tier list about add-ons I would say is actually better, because like making a tier list about add-ons, obviously you're talking about the 1v4, obviously,
Right.
because like you have to with add-ons, and that's the same with perks. Like even with perks, you have to be talking about a 1v4. But when you're talking about a killer themselves, then you're talking about 1v1.
Right. Well, and then that brings in the other question with tier lists and like ranking power levels. Most people don't take add-ons into account, and I always hate that.
Yeah, like if we're taking into account Cigar, like Deathslinger is literally top of A tier because of literally Cigar. Cigar itself just makes Deathslinger so much more powerful.
Exactly, and I know that's part of the reason why people don't take add-ons into account, but I don't think it's realistic to not. Because
Yeah,
how many games have you ever played where someone isn't running add-ons on a killer?
I don't play Survivor.
Oh,
But the amount of games that I haven't run add-ons on Slinger, probably twice.
exactly. So why don't
Yeah,
we take add-ons into account?
because we're stupid and we don't have to do it.
I mean,
I guess.
the reason why is because it's another variable and it makes it harder. That's
Yeah,
legitimately the reason. But I have always held the opinion because I actually think Myers is the main reason we don't. But
yeah. Myers is completely changed by his add-ons
but the thing is, like, why don't we just take the average then?
because
Because
it's hard to do that.
so what? It's accurate. It's more accurate. I don't
Yeah, it
care if
is
it's
accurate.
harder.
Yeah, but
Like,
then you also have characters like Deathslinger where he only has like two good combos.
right.
So like, what do you do about him then? Because he only has like double reloads and cigar and wardens. That's it.
So take the average of what you see in a match typically.
Cigar and wardens. Then he's 80.
Okay.
And then but then we're also not taking into account double reloads. Then he'll be B tier. So
So what's the average of those two?
that'll be bottom of A tier then.
So there you go.
Oh, that's what you mean. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
like
So yeah,
like with Myers, it's like everyone's always like, oh, he always brings Tombstone. Not always. A lot of Myers just bring what's the drain speed one on the obsession, the Haribo, I think it is. The
it'll
journal.
be
The journal.
yeah, it'll be Eternal and Memorial.
Yeah, some people bring that stuff too. Like it would
Yep.
be the average based on the strength of the add-ons that are typically brought. Like if someone's taking like Clown, I think is another good example. Like Clown with cigar box is a completely different killer.
Yep. I
Um,
completely agree with that.
like completely different. But like, Flask of Bleach is still there. People still bring that. People still
Yeah.
bring some people bring the makeup kit. Some people bring the haste effects, the haste ones that got added recently. Like,
That's one thing that I hate about Slinger though, is that every other killer has all of this like variety with their add-ons. And then there's Deathslinger.
oh, I wouldn't say every other killer. Chucky has like three.
Yeah. Yeah, but you get what I mean. Like
Yeah.
Deathslinger's just sitting here with double reload.
Well, I think the double reload thing, not even like from a power level thing. I think it's also just because it's always good.
Yeah, it is. It is consistently good.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that's a bigger problem with gamers in general.
yeah,
Is it doesn't matter how and I think this comes into the power level discussion too. Is potential is something we often don't like.
yeah. The potential for Deathslinger, I would say, if played at the highest level that Deathslinger could ever get to,
Uh-huh.
I would say Deathslinger would actually rival a lot of S tier killers.
But yeah, but once again, people don't like talking potential because it's
Yeah,
inconsistent and the
yeah,
variables and
because
such.
you can't play perfectly every single game.
Yeah,
You can't.
it's just like the idea. I've said this before with like Trail of Torment and Unforeseen. It's like a lot of people say Unforeseen is better than Trail of Torment because it's always 30 seconds.
Yeah,
But Trail of Torment can be longer.
yeah,
And that's the thing. That's why people prefer Unforeseen over Trail. It's because it's always 30 seconds. It doesn't matter. It's always 30 seconds.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
matter if even like for whatever reason you run Trail for 6 games in a row and you always get it to work for 40 seconds. It doesn't matter because there's a chance that it doesn't.
yeah. And
And
that's the same thing with Slinger. Is that Slinger is consistently inconsistent.
exactly. And
Yeah,
it just makes it hard to determine that power level because of that. And
yeah,
then the question becomes with like power levels, do we talk about the average player or are we talking about the high end players?
yeah. Are we talking about me or are we talking about Greg down the street?
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like it's a
Also, this helps.
yeah, just a little bit. I think it's one of those things where it's like,
Oh, what the hell?
and do we take into account the high end player versus the average player, or do we just take the average of those two? But even then it would kind of skew more to the high end player.
Especially with killers like Slinger, which, like I said, are are consistently inconsistent. He was
Exactly.
made. Death Slinger was made to be inconsistent. He is made to be that.
Right.
So, like, how do we get a consistent power level out of an inconsistent killer?
Yeah, and he's also in that position. I feel on tier lists and such, where at the end of the day, I think it does come down to nitpicks and
Yeah,
semantics to determine exactly where he is. Um,
yeah,
because I think the only killer, like a lot of us, I think there's two killers a lot of us are pretty much in agreement on. Nurse is S tier, best killer in the
yes.
game, and Trapper is the worst killer in the game. But even then,
I I would actually say Haggis.
Hag,
Yeah, I would
I
say Haggis is the worst killer in the game.
I would disagree, but
I would say it because she was stronger when flashlights got rid of her traps.
mm-hmm.
And the fact that you can base kit get rid of her traps consistently is a huge nerf to her, and she's become the worst killer in the game because of that.
I see.
But yeah, again, I'm someone who doesn't play Hag. I'm someone who has like 2 minutes on Hag, so I might
Well,
be
I mean
out my ass.
that's the problem with she has the same problem every trap character in every game has.
Yeah,
You're dependent on your opponent doing something.
yes.
Um,
So, and that's the reason why I like Slinger, because Slinger doesn't actually have to care about that.
but
He can just do what he wants.
and that's the thing. Like Hag and Trapper, it's like people will be like, "Oh, well, I can 4K on them sometimes." It's like, yeah, sometimes, and it's also like potentially, right?
Yeah.
Like I've seen Trappers
They are consistently dependent on survivor mistakes.
exactly.
Yeah,
And that's the problem is, and that's why they're usually down in the bottoms. But at the same time, I do think we should take into account the fact that they can snowball,
yeah,
right?
they can.
That's why, honestly speaking, I think the worst killer in the game is actually Freddy. But
I have seen people say that because Freddy is the only killer in the game that can literally have no power.
yeah,
Like, because he can literally run pallets. Like Pallet Freddy, I think we can all agree is the worst killer in the game.
even if we take into account his add-ons, I still think Freddy's the worst killer in the game.
Yeah, but do we agree that Pallet Freddy is the worst killer in the game? Like, objectively, he is the worst killer in the game.
I think Gaslight Freddy is fine.
Mm,
Do I think he's still the worst killer in the game? Yes, but I don't think it's as bad as people. I think that's the other problem with it.
yeah,
Is saying worst killer in the game carries the connotation that he's unplayable.
I mean, Palette Freddy is.
I don't think he is. I get hits with Palette Freddy all the fucking time.
No, yeah, you can get hits, but you can't consistently 4K. Like, you can't consistently
Well,
get a
and
kill.
that's the other thing. Is that what we're talking about? Is that the
I mean-
determining factor?
That's what I would say is, yeah.
But I mean, in theory, like if your macro is good enough, once you get that first down, you should be able to get a 4K off of that.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that makes sense.
And that's the problem with the 4K is like there's so many factors that like are we talking a 4K without camping and tunneling? Are we talking a 4K with taking every chase and 12 hooking? Are we talking a 4K with no perks? Are like you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's so many factors. That's why I think tier lists are pointless most of the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
And on top of that, like I said, like putting Freddy like as low as he is and constantly saying he's the worst, same with Trapper and Hag. I think a lot of us have this or put out the perception that these killers are literally unplayable, which isn't our intent at all, but it often comes off that way.
Yeah, but would we agree that Deathslinger, like, apart from just being on a tier list or whatever, would we like agree that Deathslinger is bottom 10 for map pressure
Oh yeah,
and then
100.
top 10 for chase?
Yes, I would agree with that 100%.
Yes, because that's what I would say is like like I feel like we should do two different tier lists, one for map pressure and one for chase, and that's how we should talk about killers.
That's why I often compare him to Chucky because Chucky's basically the same way.
Yeah.
And people will go, oh, but the footsteps, bro. If the survivors know what they're doing, no one cares about the footsteps.
Yeah. You listen up for his laugh.
Well, not even that. Just look at the HUD. If he's chasing somebody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the laugh, I'm actually kind of weaning on the laugh a little bit because I have learned that if the generator is past 60%, you can't hear the laugh.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's quieter than the gen at 60%.
Oh shit. I mean, that also happens to Deathslinger as well. You can't hear his coat if the gen is past 30%.
Yeah,
It's actually quieter than that.
I'm still curious if it's unintentional or not.
I think for Slinger, it is intentional.
That it's quieter than the gen being that much?
Yeah, because there's actually a comment in the code that talks about it.
Oh.
There's actually a comment in the code that goes, "We want Slinger to have some kind of stealth capability."
Mm-hmm.
So they made his coat quieter than the gen.
I see.
So yeah, that's actually something that's intentional. So
so apart from power, and this is probably going to be a long one too, but do you have any tips? And when I say new players,
like completely new players to Dead by Daylight.
No. I don't mean completely new players to Dead by Daylight. I mean like, let's say 1 to 200 hours. Sees Deathslinger is like, oh man with gun, I love him, and starts maining him.
For the love of fucking God, be patient.
Okay.
That's like the only tip. The only tip I have is just be fucking patient, please. I see so many slingers go like, oh yeah, I need to shoot. Like, you don't. Be fucking patient. Like you can see with like most of the games that are playing in the background. Like most of the games that I'm playing in the background, probably not this one because it's like a fucking tier list. But like most of the games in the background, you can see me like actually wait a lot of the times on my shots. And the reason why I do that is because survivors know you're aiming. They know when you're gonna aim. If they are decent at the game, they know when you're gonna aim.
Right.
Yeah. They know that you're going to like. Let's be honest. You're playing against Deathslinger. That you go to shack. The Deathslinger's at the window. You're inside shack.
Mm-hmm.
The Deathslinger's going to aim at the shack pallet, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just going to happen. Like you know that's going to happen. So what you do is you fake that you're going around the shack, and then you just go back to the window.
It's just, yeah. I mean, I think that's something people need to learn in general with this game is patience.
Yeah, just have patience. And also, please do not fucking clutch on the cigar. It will ruin your skill. Your exponential rise in skill that you get from playing it killer.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone has that. If you run cigar, it will ruin it. It will ruin your perspective of Deathslinger, and you will not be playing Deathslinger well.
I would also say don't crutch on the ADS move speed add-ons like I do, please.
Yeah, don't use wanted poster. Like you can even see in this tier list, I literally put them in D. because
I love them.
I actually think they're dog shit.
I love
Like,
them. I love them so much.
and also, why the fuck did I put Prison Clean in this?
Because, shut up. I don't know.
And also, look where I put Iwi Coin.
When was this?
This was
December Christmas event.
December.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you agree with where I put Iwi?
Coin?
Yeah, coin.
Yeah, because a lot has to go right.
And then Cigar is S tier, and Double Reload is S tier. Like, we can all agree with that.
Yeah, because if the survivor knows you have Eerie, they can just run into you.
Or just run away from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
They can just run out your range.
yeah. Once they figure out you have it, like there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's stuff they can do to mitigate it.
Yeah, like, you can camp with it, yeah. Like, you'll get a guaranteed kill if you use Iwi White, but
Mm-hmm.
you'll probably only get one kill.
Yeah.
But going on to the question, sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
But yeah, just have patience. Don't run Cigar. Run Double Reload if you want to, but have some games where you don't run it because you don't want to be crutching on that as well.
Mhm.
Basically, don't try to crutch on any of the add-ons. That's it. Like, pretty much, and shoot your shots. If you think a shot won't connect, shoot it anyway, because you actually never know.
Yeah,
You know,
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, unless you're me. Then you miss all of them.
yeah.
Which is why I zone.
But yeah, just shoot your gun. Be good at Slinger. Get good at Slinger, and just have fun. That's it. That's like the only thing I would say to a new Slinger player.
All right, and the next question is the one people don't like answering, but tips to play against Slinger.
I love answering this question. Okay. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh yeah, dodge." No, I'm gonna tell you the exact opposite. Run in a straight line.
Yes.
Just run in a fucking straight line. Because if you're going against a good Slinger, they're gonna miss.
There's a bell curve for Huntress players. They often talk about this, where the worst players to go against are the brand new players.
Yeah.
Because they don't fucking dodge.
Okay, I'm gonna make every single fucking Huntress player hate me because I'm gonna actually point out something that you can do to Slinger and Huntress, and I'm gonna get death threats from fucking everyone. So, I'm probably gonna have to go circling in my DMs after this. Just saying, what the fuck did you just say? So basically, there is a bug. No, not a bug. There's a tech that you can do at the moment where if you point and crouch on the exact same frame, you will have the crouch hitbox, but you'll be standing up visually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm telling you to do is every single time you go to a pallet or you go to a window, do that.
I feel like people do that already against every killer in the game, to be honest.
Yeah, but basically you point, crouch, drawing the point animation, and you're standing up visually, but you have the crouch hitbox, and the Deathslinger will shoot at you, and it will go through your head.
It's so stupid. I get why it's there, and there's probably no way to fix it, but God, that's so dumb.
But that's one thing you can do against Slinger. Also, do not pre-vault at all. Like, when I say pre-vault, what I mean is, like, don't vault when you want to vault. Vault when you don't want to vault.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because it makes you more inconsistent and makes you harder to play against. So, also you have to understand as well is that everything you could do to Doc, do you know how with Doc you can drop a pallet like while you scream?
Yeah.
You could do that to Slinger. They have the same timing. Yeah. Basically, if you drop a pallet while getting speared, you can still drop it. And like, if you do that at like Shack pallet, it actually makes it harder for Deathslingers to down you because most Deathslingers will go inside a shack and then like try to shoot you before you get to the pallet. If you're just spamming space like you do against Doc, you can normally drop that pallet before he can shoot you.
I see.
Or even drawing the shot. So yeah, that's another thing you can do against Slinger. And also the last thing as well is just be as weird with your pathing as possible.
I think I
That's
think
it.
I think that's the thing with most range killers that people say just be weird, man. Just
Yeah, just be weird with your pathing. Just be as fucking crazy with your pathing as you can be, and that will normally save your life like most of the time.
what?
And also don't play Shaq against him.
Yeah, I think he's one of the kings of Shaq. Him, Chucky,
Yeah,
and Doc are probably.
yeah. If you're forced to play Shaq, play it in a way that the Deathslinger will not expect.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I got
or
you.
like run to the boarded up window, but then instead of like this is the thing is that most Deathslingers watch my clips, and they're no, not most Deathslingers, but I'm having an ego here, but I'm gonna say it. Most Deathslingers will cry for the boarded up window shot.
Hmm.
Yeah. So instead of running that boarded up window, fake that you're running it and just run the fuck away.
I see.
Like let's say you're playing Coldwind, yeah, like the map that's being shown now. Like let's say that you're playing Coldwind, you go past the first boarded up window because most people will aim at the second boarded up window, yeah, because they want to have the line of sight of the survivor running past the first window.
Mhm.
Um, run past the first boarded up window, get to the middle, and just run vertically away from it in the blind spot.
I see.
And then like the Deathslinger will actually be pre-aiming that window, and you'll actually have time to run away.
Hmm.
So basically, every time that you give if you see the Deathslinger aiming somewhere, so they have the line of sight to you, go to that first point of line of sight and just fuck off. That's like
um,
the easiest way I could put
gotcha.
it.
I talked about it earlier. It's like a lot of range killer mains, like Huntress, even Trickster to a degree. Um, the thing we hate the most is new players because we don't know
Yeah,
what the fuck they're doing, and it's so hard to aim against someone when you don't know what they're doing. They will do the craziest thing that no sane person would
that's that's
do.
that's the thing is that if you see me go against new players, you'll see me like flick and I'll be like, "What the fuck are you doing, you fucking slag?"
How do you how
Like,
do how do you feel about bots, by the way? Out of curiosity.
okay, so do you know about bot wheeling?
No.
Okay, bot wheeling. So wheeling, like I said with movement speed, that also happens to ping.
Hmm.
So the lower your ping, the more claim control you have.
I see.
So how much ping do bots have?
None. I would
Yep.
assume.
Yeah. And have you ever seen a Deathslinger wheel a bot?
I mean, I've done it.
Yeah. Do you see how much control they have? That's because they have zero ping.
I see.
Yeah. So that's that. If that answers your question,
Yeah, well, I just meant in the sense of like they can perfectly dodge sometimes.
they don't against Deathslinger.
I thought they did.
No, not against Deathslinger. Against Deathslinger, they will not perfectly dodge.
I think that's why I suck at bots for Deathslinger.
Yeah. Bots will dodge in a controlled and scripted way against Deathslinger, and if you know the script, you can literally shoot them every single time.
I think that's the problem. I don't know the script. I'm expecting them to dodge like a normal player.
Yeah. What they'll do, they'll wait 0.6 seconds and into you aiming down sights, doing the aim down sights animation, and then they'll dodge,
I see.
and then they won't dodge anymore.
I see.
So yeah, if you know that script, then it's fine.
Um, I still think they should tone down how well the bots can dodge in general, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, against Huntress, they'll do it randomly. Against Slinger, they won't do it after that
Against
0.6
unknown,
second buffer.
against unknown they do it perfectly.
Yeah,
Um,
because they're bots.
yeah, and then I play a
Yeah.
killer. I play a killer who relies on mind games a lot, like
Yep.
really relies on them. So playing against bots is one of the worst experiences I have.
I mean, I also hate the bots, but not because of like mind games or anything. I just hate them because they just have perfect wheeling. I
I
hate
see.
it.
I see.
I hate the fact that I have to like I'm literally wheeling a survivor and they're going into Kansas.
I see.
They're going to Kansas and they're going to fucking Bulgaria. I don't know.
Um. All right. Next, into a more fun topic, and we talked about it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Thoughts on his lore?
Deathslinger's lore is probably one of the most heartfelt discussions of racism that I've ever seen in any game.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I feel like they handle racism with Deathslinger's lore extremely fucking well.
Yeah, and once again, I think it's a side of racism that often isn't talked about enough.
They don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
They don't. They
Well,
literally show Deathslinger turned into a fucking psychopath because of racism.
Well, no, I don't even mean in that sense. I mean in the sense of like a lot of times, like I said earlier, people forget about the Irish and general
Yeah,
immigrant racism. Um,
and the fact that
background.
they made Deathslinger Irish as well is such a good idea.
Hmm.
Such a good fucking idea because they could have easily have just made him American,
Right.
but making him American with Irish descent is so interesting.
Yeah.
To be honest, because he isn't like other American people. He is someone who has been dealing with racism for so fucking long. He's someone who snapped because of it.
Right.
So, like, if you look at the law, the reason why he snaps is because of Henry Bayshore stealing his patents,
Right.
and the warden literally makes Death to Bayshore the gun. By the way, this is actually a small thing. What do you think is called the Redeemer, the spear or the gun?
The I would assume the gun,
The spear.
the spear. Ah,
The spear is called the Redeemer. The gun is called what your skin is.
I see.
So Killjoy is the Killjoy. The gun is called Killjoy.
I see.
If you're wanting Death to Bayshore, the gun is called Death to Bayshore,
Mm-hmm.
and the spear is always called the Redeemer.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Um, and the Redeemer itself was made by Deathslinger, but the gun was made by the Warden.
I see.
So yeah, the gun actually was given to Caleb as a normal rifle that actually shot bullets. But then Caleb reworked it to be a spear gun in order to be more sadistic and to be more, inflicts more pain.
I see.
And it is shown in Deathslinger's lore. There's actually a lot of Saw references in Deathslinger's lore as well. He actually makes I think in one of the Saw movies there's there's a trap that forces barbed needles into someone's eye.
I mean, there's the Iron Maiden from 2.
Yeah, the head one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that tool was actually made by Caleb in his lore.
Hmm.
Like he was actually going to make that.
Hmm.
The gun actually came across while he was in prison.
I see.
So, and also the thoughts with the law as well. The only the only thing I hate is the way that the tome actually dealt with Deathslinger's law.
Didn't
So
the tone went more into the gang though, didn't it? Not really so much him.
yeah, but it also handles a lot of the heavy lifting from Caleb's base law.
I see.
So, in the base law that Deathslinger had, it was heavily implied that the gun was made by Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it even goes into some of his skins. There's a skin called Self-Proclaimed Deputy. That literally says that he went into his workshop and came out a different man, heavily implying that he went into a workshop, made the gun, and then came out Deathslinger.
I see.
And also the name is also said in his base lore that Deathslinger as a name actually came from the people around him, and Deathslinger hates the name.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Oni. Oni hates being called Oni, but like the entity calls him that in order fuel his rage. It's the same with Deathslinger.
Do do you subscribe to the idea the white eyes theory?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And the reason why is because Deathslinger laughs after he hits someone.
I see.
Deathslinger as well, if you look through his lore, he is not the kind of person who would randomly kill people.
No, not at all.
He would only kill someone if there was a wanted poster or if he was getting paid to do it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he fucking hated them. So yeah, again, it only makes sense if he saw Henry Bayshore, if he saw all the bullies in school that he hated, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You know, like it would make sense that he would kill these guys. But the moment that he sees like Dwight or Meg, like he'll stop. Like he'll dead ass just like go like, what the fuck? What am I doing?
Right.
You know? Like yeah, he'll probably enjoy the suffering that he's putting onto other people, but he wouldn't enjoy it to the point that he would keep doing it.
And I think Deathslinger is we talked a little bit earlier how he's like one of the more sympathetic killers in the sense of like you can understand why he does what he does and like actually kind of agree with him.
Yeah.
I think they started doing like Plague was definitely the catalyst for that because Plague while once again we all know what she's doing is wrong, um,
Yeah,
it makes sense. And I
she's
think
doing it to appease the gods, right?
yes, she
Yeah,
she thinks she's doing the right thing.
yeah.
Um,
She's saving the people in a land. That's
yeah,
all she's doing.
and I think Deathslinger was the start of this too. But I still, maybe this is just a me thing. I do think we are getting too much of that um
Yeah,
in the game. Like
I feel like Unknown was also one of them because Unknown is just like an animal that's just killing because things are in its territory.
yeah, and then I mean
Yeah,
Larry, like while technically not sympathetic, if you really look into it,
and also Larry being a trans character.
but I just meant in the sense of like Larry, like you can understand kind of. I mean, we'll never understand how an AI works or feels, but
Yeah,
uh, at the same time, it's like Larry is still just a sadistic killer.
Larry, like Singularity just wants to kill it just wants to kill humans because it views humans as beneath it.
Exactly. Um,
Yeah,
but I mean, like other ones, like even like I'm gonna bring it up, and people are gonna hate me when I say it. I actually think Skull Merchants is partly sympathetic.
yeah, I could kind of see it because like school merchant, what was it? Lost her father at such a young age,
Yeah. Um,
and that like led to her, obsessing over like a manga and wanting to be that manga character,
mhm.
and then she just turned into school merchant because of her like
Business.
not business. It was more just because she was so like enthralled with this character that she just wanted to be it so hard.
Yeah. I think once again, I think we are getting a little too many sympathetic
And
killers.
yeah, we're getting too sympathetic. But Deathslinger was like one that was done in moderation.
Yes. Yeah.
You can definitely call Deathslinger a fucking terrible person.
Hmm.
He is. He is a fucking terrible person. You should never want to be Deathslinger. But like at the same time, you can't look at Deathslinger and say that he is objectively doing the wrong thing.
Right.
He is doing the right thing in his mind.
Hmm.
He's getting revenge. That's what the whole Chains of Hate thing comes from. He is fueled by hate.
Also, I main Zarina, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, I also think they kind of didn't do Zarina justice in that she really, like, the connection is there.
It makes sense once you view Zarina like this. Zarina is what Deathslinger would be if he was born into modern day.
Yes, I can say. I just meant like in the sense of their actual connection.
Other than that, they have nothing.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
a bit of a stretch.
This is the thing as well. I was talking to Osu about this, and we both agree Henry Bayshore should have been the survivor.
Yeah, that would have that
He
probably.
definitely should have. I don't know why they didn't do it.
Um, I mean, there's always a chance to do it later. Uh,
Yeah, hopefully it's Chains of Fate too.
yeah. Don't get
You
me
know?
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love Zarina. Like I said, she's my
Yeah,
main. Um,
yeah.
also, I'm just gonna say this to all the people on Twitter and X. Zarina has plenty of skins. Can we stop pretending like she doesn't?
Deathslinger actually needs more skins than Serena.
Um,
I'm gonna say that now.
I
I feel like
I,
Deathslinger needs more.
every time people bring up like characters that don't have skins, Zarina gets added into the conversation, and I don't know.
No.
She literally just got like 5 in like 6 months.
Do you want to know how many Deathslinger has?
That you can
I own
buy
all of them. I own all of them.
10.
No. I mean like individual cosmetics, like head, body,
Oh,
gun.
40 something.
67.
That's about average, isn't it?
Yeah, that's about average. But he is he's probably one of the only killers from his like area
Yeah.
era that has never got a blighted skin.
Oh yeah, for sure. Deathslinger
It's
got screwed over for the bladed skin so many
yeah, for
times.
4 years.
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ, he needs one. And
So
also, I have a render
so
of a
uh
blighted skin.
so before I'm gonna try to not get myself in trouble for this.
Yeah, yeah.
I may or may not know some skins that are coming this Halloween that may
Oh,
or may
poggers.
not that may or may not get people such as yourself happy. Um,
Well, to show you this one, this is what I hope the blighted slinger looks like.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, this was made by one of my characters.
I love that.
Like, look at the bayonet. The bayonet
Yeah.
is literally Seat Angel.
Oh, that's so cool.
And also, like, I literally made like alternate sounds for it. Like, you could like there was a laugh that I did, which was like you could hear the gurgling of like the serum in his throat,
Hmm.
and like as he laughs, like like there was actually going to be a stun sound where he just starts coughing involuntarily, and like you can hear like the phlegm come out of his mouth.
That's so cool. He got
And
he.
also the tag actually says his release date as well.
Oh, that's cool.
8th of May to 2020.
That's cool.
Yeah, like so much to that skin, bro.
Yeah,
Like
like
I literally went all out with it.
I think Deathslinger kind of got pushed to the side because a lot of licensed killers started getting blighted skins.
Yeah, and also he was released in 2020, which was like a year where they started doing like original stuff, but then like the year after they started doing like more and more licensed.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Um,
he only got shafted by a lot, to
yeah.
be honest.
And the thing I just said a minute ago, do not take it to heart. It's just connections I have told me.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also edit
I
that as well.
yeah. Once again, I may or may not know the
Yeah,
exact
yeah,
lineup for the Halloween skins this year.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and what the other thing I
To be
will
honest, I'm,
say
I'm
is
more I'm more happy about it being like a mystery.
yeah. Um,
Yeah,
but speaking of skins, um,
yeah.
so
My thoughts on them. Yeah.
do you have a favorite skin?
I do actually, and it is a skin that I use all the fucking time. So, like I said earlier, self-proclaimed deputy, is the name of the body that I use. What it is, it's Deathslinger in a tanned suit,
Hmm.
like a tanned, I don't know what you call it, what a duster,
Yeah, it's a duster. Yeah,
a tanned duster, and then he has workman's jeans on, but then like stapled, like nailed to his leg, he has like all of the wanted posters that he's like using to hunt down.
that's cool.
And if you look at the wanted poster, one of them is literally Caleb himself.
That's, that's cool. um,
Uh, so he has that nail to his leg, and then I use Killjoy. The reason I use Killjoy is actually because of a gameplay reason.
mhm,
Every gun in the game has a misaligned spear,
right.
and what that means is that the spike is misaligned, and therefore your crosshair is misaligned.
Uh,
Um, so using Killjoy is the only gun in the game with a perfectly aligned spear.
yeah, Xenomorph has a Xenomorph's blooded skin. Is the only one that's in the direct center of the screen.
Yeah. So like Xenomorph has the same problem.
Yeah.
And then the head that I use is a prestige head because I just feel like that's what Deathslinger would look like going into lore.
Did you like the skin he got in the tome the most recent tome?
It's a reskinned version of Railroad Warden.
Uh-huh.
And Railroad Warden is okay, but the gun is shit.
So
So
apart from gameplay reasons, is there a skin you like more though?
uh
For the gun in particular.
uh for the gun in particular, if we're not talking about like gameplay, uh Violent Decimation, which is the prestige gun, and Spirit of Belfast, which is the like prototype looking gun.
You're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me. I like the cosmic
uh,
brownie gun.
what you like the? I actually like the food gun,
Oh, it's
and the
so
reason why
good.
is because it actually has good iron sights.
I see.
Yeah, and also it just looks cool.
I just think
Um,
it's such a cool idea. It's like
yeah,
it's jokey but also serious at the same time. I love it.
I hate Death Debatable. I'm gonna say it now.
Is
I
that
do not like it, and the reason why is because it just looks ugly.
the green one?
That's default.
Oh, default. Oh, I see.
See, I hate default. I hate it so much. Like, I just feel like it looks ugly.
I see.
Um, but yeah, like if there was like a top five, number one would be Killjoy. Then there will be Spirit of Belfast. Then there will be Violent Death to Bayshore. Then there will be Chocolate Spike, which is the food gun.
Hmm.
And then if I'm feeling quirky on the day and I don't care about aiming, probably the Christmas spear gun. No, the festive spear gun.
I think Deathslinger is an interesting killer. That his gun is, not to say it doesn't happen with other killers, but his weapon is very. Which weapon
Yeah.
skin you prefer is very personal on Deathslinger, I feel.
Yeah, and
Um,
also it actually impacts your gameplay
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Because I mean, I had Tat on here for Legion, and I was talking about how much I love the cheerleader knife.
Yeah.
Because I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
But I think Legion is also in the same boat with that, where the knife kind of,
Impacts your gameplay.
well, not impacts your gameplay necessarily, but it's a personal choice.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like the reason why I like my skin as well is literally because like people see that skin and they instantly notice me.
exactly. That's what I mean. Like
No,
it's an expression choice, and
yeah, like there's actually a joke on the UK servers where if you see a Deathslinger and they have like the prestige head, it's probably me.
Mhm.
And people actually get shit scared when they actually see a Deathslinger with a prestige head because they are scared it's me. So
I I always get mad that all of Chucky's skins are sets. I always,
yeah,
he's a
that's one thing
doll.
that that's one thing that I'm really fucking pissed off about with the Iron Maiden skin. Fuck.
He's a doll.
Like,
It's literally the thing that dolls
have you
do.
have you seen the ADS on the Iron Maiden skin or not?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you've seen how dog shit it is, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah, fuck it out. I don't know how they fucked up that hard.
I'm glad they're getting away from sets. It seems like more and more every patch. It seems they're getting away from sets.
Yeah, because
Um,
I'm hoping that the fucking blighted slinger skin is not a set. I'm hoping
um,
because I want to use a blighted gun on like all of my skins.
I feel like I get it for some skins. Like I feel like the Baba Yaga on Huntress, that has to be a set.
Yeah.
It's a completely different character. I get that.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I wish Deathslinger actually had more folklore skins.
What would how many folklore characters have a gun?
No, but you think about his heritage.
Who?
No, think about think about
Oh,
Deathslinger's
oh,
like heritage.
I
You
mean,
could do Irish folklore.
yeah, I guess you could have. Yeah, but
You could even do like
hmm,
American folklore as well, because he is from both of those. He is from he is born in America but has Irish heritage.
right. I get that. I'm just saying, like, would how would you make it fit because of the gun? That would be my problem.
You just make it fit. Like if you can make a cowboy work in a horror setting, you can make a gun work with a leprechaun.
I mean, he has a leprechaun skin.
I mean, yeah, but it isn't like what I'm talking about is like like the leprechaun movies.
Oh,
Yeah,
how would
like
he can't work because he's like 6 feet tall. You can't do that.
you can make him dress like him or have the skin of him.
He does like as close as they could get.
But you get what I mean. Like, I wish that you had like more. Yeah, I
I
wish that you had like more kind of like
am I
creative skins.
am I confusing Celtish with Scottish?
What do you mean?
Celtic stuff. It's Irish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm actually surprised he doesn't have that many Celtic skins.
Also, big thing talking about Irish. Deathslinger can actually speak fluent Gaelic.
Mm.
Yeah, because his dad's good.
Now, there is one set of skins that I think they would like to avoid. I think you would actually kind of like them to have. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever get a baklava. I'm just saying.
Why, bro? I want to
No.
know. I want. Okay, okay. I want an IOA skin.
Do you know how offensive that would be to Irish people if they gave,
What, the IOA skin?
if they gave the only Irish character that uses a gun the IRA skin?
You're right. He should get a new. He should get a new power where he blows up cars.
Oh my god. I do not condone anything that has been said.
Yeah. Listen, I have Irish friends. I have Irish friends. Some of them are communists.
Oh my god.
That probably makes it worse, right?
This whole video just got cancelled. Um,
Listen. I'm not saying all Irish people are communists. I'm just saying all of the Irish people that I know are communists.
somehow you made it worse. Somehow you made it worse. Okay, before we continue, I have two things to say. I do not think that all Irish people are part of the IRA, and I understand the deep, rich history of the IRA versus the UK. That's all I'm going to say on the subject. Moving on.
None of you fuckers come to my house. I'm locking my car.
Oh my god. This will come out in 2 months. You got time. Um. Okay.
Anyway. Now that we got the funnies out of the way, let's go in.
Maps. Let's talk about maps.
You sound so defeated.
What do I say to that? What is my response to that? Oh my
So you get the
god.
scripts out,
Oh.
and you start saying, "My family is definitely not held hostage in Belfast."
Listen. My heritage. I said it earlier. My heritage is Welsh. I can't say nothing. Okay. Um.
I could say so many things about a certain animal right now.
Oh, don't you dare bring up sheeps. I swear to God. You know, I didn't even know there was Welsh stereotypes until like 10 years ago.
I love being British, bro. I love it.
My favorite thing about Welsh people, not Welsh people, but like the history of Wales is it was such a shit country that half of them became pirates.
I love the story of of Australia. Just like they got so bored of Britain that they decided they won't. Like a bunch of convicts just went over to an island, and it just became the most the most dangerous place on earth.
That is the Cliff Notes, but sure.
Yeah, but then it just became the most dangerous place on earth, and then they just don't care.
For an actual history lesson on Australia, and I'm sure someone will correct me on the details. Basically, Australia was a prison. And yeah, and the UK was like, hey, we need people to fight for us. So they gave the prisoners guns. And yeah, they didn't really think what would happen when you give a bunch of prisoners guns.
Case in point, the Deathslinger.
It wraps around. It's a circle.
It's a flat circle.
There is some historian listening to this who's like typing a comment of how wrong I am. I'm giving the cliff notes. I'm not going to get into the whole history of Australia during a Deathslinger podcast.
Now you just cut to like a 3D animation or someone at a keyboard going.
If I had time to edit it, I would.
Just fucking smashing their fists on the keyboard.
Oh my god. Oh, why don't you edit these? Listen, if you want to edit these for me, go right ahead. These are like 5 hours long. I'm not editing this.
I ain't editing shit.
I'll edit out some stuff, but I'm not going through like, oh, I should put a visual here and do that.
Okay, so that joke about the IRA is going to be a YouTube short.
I need to do shorts for these. I really do.
Yeah. Just take the entire like IRA thing.
I'm gonna make so many people.
What you need to do is find like an Irish person in the community and at them.
I know a few Irish people, so like I probably.
I do. I know. I don't know if you remember Kemsey.
Maybe.
Used to be a clown main.
Oh yes. I
Yeah.
know them then.
And he like quit because of like mental health and stuff. But like, the guy was a legend back in the day. To be honest, he's like the reason why clown is played the way that he is nowadays.
Isn't am I incorrect? Isn't Davude Irish? Am I wrong?
Okay, so Davude, if I ever go against your spirit, I didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it.
Aren't they Irish though? Am I wrong?
I think so.
I apologize if I have that wrong, Davude. If you're
That's
listening.
it. I'm atting them on Twitter. Hey, bro, you Irish?
Would be the first time someone's done it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What was I gonna say? Really?
This you, and it's just a picture of Deathslinger.
Moving on to maps.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the answer to this question already. Would you say Deathslinger is map dependent?
Yes, I would completely.
Okay. Which maps?
He is good on 3 maps.
Which maps would you say? Okay, so what's his worst map if you had to pick one?
His worst map is Hawkins.
Hawkins? Okay. Any particular reason why?
It's Hawkins.
Any more specific reason why?
I don't know what else you want where it's Hawkins. Like, honestly.
Fair
Like,
enough.
just the corridors are just way too small, and the corners are just way too sharp,
Mhm.
and just the safety you have in every single fucking loop is just way too good. Like, yeah, I just feel like there's just not really a lot you can do on Hawkins, especially on Deathslinger.
Mm. Um, and then you said he has what, three good maps?
Three three maps that he's exceptional on.
What
I would
would
say,
you
yeah.
what would you say is his best map?
Wrecker's Yard.
Wreckers Yard.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean you went
Wrecker's Yard is his most consistent map.
yeah, and you went over that a little bit earlier, but
Yeah.
what are the other two?
Gas Heaven and Suffocation Pit.
Okay, and for similar
Um,
reasons, I would assume.
Suffocation Pit because it's his most consistent. Is his most consistent Macmillan map. And Gas Heaven because it's his best mental warfare map.
I
Like
see.
people think that is weak, that Deathslinger is weak on it, but it's actually he's really strong on it.
Hmm.
Wrecker's Yard is literally just because every loop is so low. There's only debris loops, and you don't have a main building to worry about.
I see. That makes sense.
And Shack is also just extremely easy to play as Deathslinger. So yeah, that's
Um.
like the three maps that he's good on.
Okay. I
Every
mean,
other map, he's kind of like middling, kind of like he'll win like 50-50, but like not a lot of the time.
yeah, and I mean, we talked about a lot of maps earlier, and I think that's part of the
Yeah,
part of it. Last of my questions, and then we'll get into the community questions. Any you kind of said at the start, but any stats you have on Deathslinger in particular?
I have the most of the stats I have are my own like personal stats.
Mhm.
So like my kill rate, I think at the moment with Deathslinger is like I 4K around 60 to 73% of the time.
Okay.
So like I probably have like the highest kill rate out of any Deathslinger main. Uh, and I think with like the stats, like personal stats as well, it's like spear downs like 38k.
Mhm.
So yeah, like I'm number 4 in the world for spear downs. I think. Wait, let me check that because I can actually check it right now. But yeah, for anyone who's like interested in like seeing their stats, by the way, DBZ Cookie is pretty good for that.
Yeah, as long as you're on Steam.
Yeah, as long as you're on Steam. I mean, DBD info is good as well if you're on Steam.
Yeah, I am not on Steam, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm at 37,432 spear downs.
And number four.
Number 4 in the world, yes.
I see.
And then I have like 8,000 hours on Slinger. So,
Yeah, that's. All right. So the
so
community.
yeah,
I mean, that's still a decently high. Like, I mean, you've been playing him since release, though, right?
yeah, I've been playing him since since his PTB.
Yeah. So like, yeah,
So
that's decently high. He's not a character like Nemesis. I feel. Because you know Horserer, right?
yeah, I know Horsewell, I know Indie,
Yeah.
I know all of them.
Horserer didn't start playing Nemesis until like a year after Nemi came out, and he somehow like cracked the top five.
I mean, to be honest, I have like I only started getting good at Slinger like I think a year in. So like when I actually started caring about stats, when I
Hmm.
actually started caring about like getting spear downs, I don't anymore because honestly I'm at top 4. Why the fuck should I care?
Hmm.
Um, but when I started caring about stats, I was like a year in. So honestly, I have like Deathslinger mains like coming up to me and being like, "What the fuck? Why the fuck are you here? You literally only started growing like a year in. I should be higher than you." But most of the reason why is because I sweated this killer out.
Yeah.
Honestly, like no one play. I would hazard to guess that I have probably the most hours in Deathslinger than anyone in this entire fucking game.
I wish there was a way to track that.
Yeah, but honestly, who else do you think has 8,000 hours of this killer?
I mean, we'll get. I'm going to ask you a little bit later about other Slinger mains, but I probably even the ones I know of, I probably wouldn't say they have that much.
Yeah, like I literally like talk to like. By the way, you know Zapples.
I don't know Zappos now.
So Zapples is another Deathslinger main that he's known as like the Flick King.
Hmm.
So basically, we have like different things where basically I'm known as a flick queen because, like, girl. And Zappos is known as like the flick king, and he only started playing Deathslinger 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Like, he only started playing it in 2022.
Hmm.
And he's actually, I would actually say Zappos is probably better than me mechanically,
Right.
like, unironically. And he's only started playing like 2 years in. So yeah.
All right. Well, on that, we'll get into some of the community questions. This
Yep.
first one we kind of answered already a little bit.
Yep.
Should Slinger be 115 movement speed?
Yes, but only when he's out of ammo and out of a case.
And I already said my thing where I think it should happen if they don't lower the terror radius. That's
Yeah.
my point of contention for it.
Yeah.
You actually kind of already answered this one too, but what are your favorite
Yeah.
parts about Cable's lore?
My favorite parts about Caleb's lore are the way that the way that they actually treat his racism, the way that they don't actually sugarcoat shit, but also how they actually they don't try to make all of Deathslinger's lore specifically about him, because he's actually part of like a bigger world that has to be fleshed out.
Mhm.
I would actually argue that the Chains of Hate world is actually probably one of the most fleshed out of any of the worlds in the game.
Well, I
Honestly.
mean, yeah, I mean, like the tome wasn't even really about him.
Yeah, it was actually about the world that he resides in, the Warden, Henry,
Yeah,
the Hellshire Gang, about like all of them. And honestly, I feel like the entirety of Deathslinger's lore is actually just a W.
yeah.
Honestly.
I think they did a really good job with. I mean, we ranted about it for like an hour. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Next is how big of a gap do you think Huntress and Slinger are after the changes to each killer?
When you say gap, do you mean like lethality or with how similar they are?
With how similar they are, I would assume.
Deathslinger and Huntress were never similar.
Well, I guess lethality would be the better question then.
Lethality?
Wait,
I would say
and this is taking into account the changes that Huntress just had, by the way.
Huntress is more lethal. Completely. She's always been more lethal. And the reason why is because Deathslinger, on 2 pallets in the game, he can't wheel around them. And Huntress can just throw a hatchet over it. So yeah, like objectively, like Huntress is more lethal.
Same. I once again I already asked this, but what is Deathslinger's worst and best cosmetic?
Killjoy for gun, self-proclaimed deputy for body, and then I would actually say it's Railroad Warden for the head.
Okay, I have to find my Twitter ones. Hang on. I definitely plan these out better.
It's all cool. I don't plan anything.
Ranting about 2v8, ranting about 2v8s. Okay, can you ask them how they sleep at night?
Wait, what?
Can you ask them how they sleep at night? That was the question I got on Twitter.
I sleep like a kitten, knowing the screams of the damned are inside of my head and the voices are getting louder.
What a question! Very insightful. Thank you.
And also, I camped you at 4 Glens Cry.
I know the person who sent that. I'm pretty sure it was just a joke. Still.
Yeah, I know. That was a joke too.
What was I? So I mean, unless you have anything else you want to add,
one thing that I do actually want to add is actually a question for you. Have you noticed that Deathslinger is like the queer character that every single queer player play? Well, have you noticed that with other killers?
Dead by Daylight is a very
queer positive game.
Yes, as much as people like
hate,
which is so strange. It's a very LGBT friendly community. Also, I apologize for not adding the Q and plus. I just listen. It's brevity. All right?
Yeah.
But
even as like a trans woman, like I see that a lot with Cookie. as well. Like Cookie is
Well,
very
I mean
is played by
that's
a lot of queer players.
that's also because of the franchise. I mean,
Yeah, because like Cookie himself is bi as
yeah.
well.
Well,
I mean, he is
Don Man,
kind of
it's complicated. That's all I'll
yeah.
say.
I
You're
know that
not
he has a
you're
queer kid.
yeah, you're not wrong. It's just it's complicated. I mean,
Yeah.
have you watched the TV show?
Yes, I have. I watched it all the way through.
Yeah, like like I said, Chucky's sexuality is complicated.
I
Um,
got a queer kid.
uh,
Gender fluid.
but I mean, Chucky's always been like a queer coded, not even queer
Yeah,
coded. It
yeah.
was
And so
made by a gay man. Like, um,
if you want to look over to the right of the screen, we got James Sunderland with his pillow back bling.
um,
If you know anything about Silent Hill, you know why that's funny.
but it's I don't know. Like honestly, like speaking, like I don't. Maybe it's because I don't pay enough attention. And don't
Yeah.
really uh, and I don't mean that to be like, oh, I don't see that stuff. I'm just saying like I don't
Yeah.
really pay much attention to it.
I
And
can see
this,
it a lot as like a queer person because I'm just like, yo, like a lot, you know, a lot of I was about to say a slur. Um, okay. To preface that, I do. Okay, it's a big thing in the LGBT community that like queer people will, you know, I think you see that a lot with Davut. Um,
listen. It's a cultural thing.
yeah,
It's a I am not nearly equipped enough to have that discussion here. I'm just saying
yeah,
I would appreciate if you didn't because I'm pretty sure you two
yeah.
would have a problem with it.
Yeah, that's the. But basically, like, when Deathslinger came out, there were 3 trans people playing Deathslinger,
Mhm.
3, and they were all the big creators. Me, Jane, as much as I hate to say that, I won't get into that here. But basically, it was me, Jane, and I think it was I forgot his name, but there was like a furry, and basically because over time, like Deathslinger has just become this character that a lot of like queer people just play, and has actually just become the queer like Deathslinger itself is just a cis guy, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean
like but
it's never
he has
explicitly said in any way, shape, or form anywhere.
yeah, but like the thing is that there's so many trans people who play Slinger because of his backstory, because of him dealing with racism, because of him dealing with a world that doesn't care about him. So many trans people who start who start flocking to Deathslinger because of his backstory.
I mean, the same thing kind of happened with Singularity. A lot of people, I mean,
Yeah, sorry, like
yeah, a lot,
Singularity is very transcoded, very
right,
transcoded.
right. Um,
So, because there's actually like anyone who says that, oh yeah, like trans people are just like putting that on Singularity. No, there's literally a fucking line in his law where he says him, not it. Like
yeah,
you
I
can't be more
mean,
explicit.
once again, not nearly equipped to deal with a conversation myself personally. I think it's one of those things where I agree that
Yeah,
he what is he
him. He uses he him.
okay. Um, well, I mean, because it's the same problem with unknown. I never know if I'm supposed to say it or they.
You're supposed to use it for no.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's just like a being.
um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of those. It's like I think the idea of coding in media is something that has been kind of lost for a little while, and it's only
yeah,
because you know the story of queer coded characters in like Disney movies
yeah.
back
Do
back in
they
the day.
overdo it?
Yeah, and it's been kind of like snuffed out's the wrong word because that makes it seem like it's necessarily a bad thing, but like it
Mm.
hasn't been a thing for a while, and I think it's starting to come back, especially
Yeah.
in the sense of transcoding. Um,
There's actually one thing that I like about Slinger is that there's actually a lot of things in Slinger's lore that actually says that he is actually trans. And one of the big things that a lot of people like bring up, and I actually think that Deathslinger is trans. And the reason why is literally because in his Gilded Stampede skin, like the the way the Chinese New Year skin. He has bandages around his chest, and there is a cut under those bandages where his breasts will be.
Mm.
So maybe he did top surgery on himself. Never know.
I mean,
Maybe he is a trans man. But like at the same time, we'll never know, and I hope Behavior never actually give us the answer.
thank you.
I I like the fact that there's a bit of mystery there.
I
You know?
I have I disagree with a lot of people on the sense of I don't like it when devs say yes or no definitively to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because
Most of the time.
like this is the thing. I think it's my headcanon is Deathslinger is a romantic asexual trans man.
Mm.
Because if you look at his lore, he has no desire for like a relationship or anything like that.
Yeah, but you
Like
the thing with the aromantic asexual thing as an ace person is
yeah,
a lot of times it's just because it's not because they're not. It's just because it's not relevant to the story.
yeah, but
And
like at the same time, if you look at the way that Deathslinger presents himself as well, he just doesn't seem the type to care.
it's yeah, that's one of
But
those
at the
ones
same
where
time,
it's
it's a headcanon at the end of the day. I don't want them to confirm it.
yeah,
I don't want them to.
because Rainbow. I talk about how Rainbow Six Siege does representation, and I actually think they do it. They're probably the best in the business for it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Because like they confirmed Kavera as lesbian, and
yeah,
the way they did it was
and Tupuero as well.
who
Tupuero as a trans man.
yeah. But the way they did it for Kavera, like confirming she was lesbian, was it wasn't a lore entry, it wasn't anything like that. It was one of her skins.
Yeah,
It just says it like it doesn't even say it. It's just she has like an amulet or an amulet, a necklace uh her partner's name on it. That's it.
oh damn.
Yeah, that's all it is.
The way that I want them to do it for Deathslinger is like I want there to be like a gun where like in the description it says something like his father couldn't come to terms with it at first, but he knew that he was going to grow into a man that he was proud of, or something like that. Just like not explicitly saying that he's trans, but saying that his father knew about him being trans and
And
was supportive about it, or something
you,
like that.
you know, and I don't want to bring this into like a full like talk on representation necessarily, but like I do
Yeah,
think that's the problem that um we're running into with not the problem, but I think it's a crossroads we're running to with representation of certain things in media is we want it to be simultaneously explicit but also subtle, and
yeah.
that is not easy to do.
I just want it to be subtle. I don't want them to explicitly say that Deathslinger is trans. I don't want
Right.
that because like it would. This is the thing: is that people would the transphobes would then start playing Deathslinger and start like throwing games and start throwing fucking hissy fit or whatever the fuck. But
Mhm.
if you're subtle about it, then the people who should know, the people who care enough to know that Deathslinger is trans will know that he's trans, and the
Mhm.
people who don't care enough won't know.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing. Like I say with like, because I've said this before. Like I said, as an ace person, it's like I actually don't care that there's not that much ace representation because I understand how difficult it is to do right.
Yeah.
Because
They can't just say that. Oh yeah, Deathslinger didn't care about relationship. They can't do that.
without it seeming like out of place.
Yeah, forced.
Yeah,
You know.
and that's the problem. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like eight ace reps we've had. I mean, we had Todd from BoJack, but it was
Mm.
explicitly said. We've got Alistair from Hasbin Hotel, but that one was uh
In a bio.
in a bio and a joke, which it's still a fucking funny
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Uh,
Never going to happen.
no, not that one. The ace in the hole joke.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the Cannibal Town.
yeah. I fucking love that joke.
We'll ace the hole.
It's one of those things where it's like I understand how difficult it is to do correctly. So I would rather
I
than
also like I also like how Alistair himself doesn't understand what the word means because it was because a lot of that stuff was after his time.
yeah yeah
Yeah, like
I've
a lot of
talked
understanding of it was after his time. So he probably feels like he's like a freak because of it.
Yeah,
But like,
I mean, I've talked about my situation with it in the past, where it's like,
yeah,
um, I up until because I didn't know I was ace, or I didn't know I was ace till like 3 or 4 years ago, because I didn't even know it was an
yeah.
option.
I didn't know that I was trans until like 2019 because I always thought that it was just and this is the thing is that I had a lot of transphobic friends when I was in like high school and stuff,
Mhm.
and they said, oh yeah, but they're just gay men who dress up in skirts. I thought that up until I started figuring out that I was trans because I was like, you know what, I like it when I'm being called a woman.
And
Fuck. Fuck.
and like I said, the problem with representation on that also is like, there's also the fine line between doing the representation correctly and do not being a stereotype.
Yeah, like if let's say like they do it for Slinger, they actually just go through with it and say that Slinger's a trans man. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah,
you don't change his character. His character is still the same. Him being a trans man doesn't change anything about his character. He's still the Deathslinger.
right.
Like
Because
it's just
people
part
have
of his character.
talked people have talked recently about how, um, we need more reps for certain for certain
We
groups.
we don't.
Um, but
Just saying, we don't.
the problem I have with it is that when you build a character from the ground up to be a rep for a group, I think you're missing the point.
Yeah, like Deathslinger. Like if they said that Deathslinger was a trans man, I feel like that would be good representation because he wasn't built up from the ground up to be a trans man.
Yeah.
He like just saying that he's a trans man and then doing nothing with it. Like if they did what they did with David, where they say, they said like, oh yeah, David's gay, and then they never talked about it again. If they did it for Deathslinger, it would be perfect for him.
Hmm.
Like literally, just say it outright and then never talk about it ever again. It would be perfect for Slinger because it wouldn't change anything about his story, but it would also be believable because of one of his skins.
Right.
That was it.
Um.
You know?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
It's a nuanced and complicated topic, I feel. And
Yeah.
once
But
again, I
like,
am not nearly qualified to talk on it.
yeah, yeah. But
uh,
like, it's interesting to talk about, especially with like, you're like cis, right? So
yeah.
yeah, it's like having like two sides of this conversation, me being a trans woman and then you being a cis man. Like it's actually interesting having this like back and forth and like actually talking about it.
Yeah, I
So
feel.
I like having this kind of like person to like talk to who's on the other side.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just good representation is not as common as it should be, but at the same time, it's just hard.
It's extremely hard. Yeah.
And
It's
that.
like like you can't. This is the thing. Unless you have a trans creator or you have someone who has created a form of media who is trans and has also probably goes for like ace people as well. It's hard. It's hard talking about the experiences that trans people have, especially when you're not a trans person.
Well, and even then, it becomes harder because everyone's experience is different.
Yeah, but like there's actually two webcomics that actually do it extremely well. Um, and those are I want to be a cute anime girl, which sounds very
I
cliche,
I
but
know of that one, but yes.
yeah. The prettiest platypus as well is a good one. Um, as well, like those two deal with like the trans experience extremely well. Because they actually look into a kid's like a kid going through that.
and
Because I feel like those experiences, especially when you're younger, are scarier.
like I said, the problem is also, you can't, like I said, you can't force it, and I think that is
Yeah,
that,
a lot of media feels like they have to force it down people's throats.
well, not even necessarily force it down people's throats, just like force the inclusion in general.
Yeah,
Um,
and like that's I just hope at some point that I feel like it's because of like both sides not really wanting to talk to each other.
eh,
Weirdly,
yeah,
because like trans people don't want to talk to cis people, some cis people don't want to talk to trans people. Like it's kind of like all that. Like we don't talk to each other enough, so therefore we don't understand each other's experiences. If we actually I don't know if you watch Doctor Who, but there's actually a line that perfectly sums it up. Um, everyone argues, everyone shouts, everyone keeps crying and screaming until they all do what they should have all done since the beginning, which is sit down and talk.
Right.
That's it. That's all we need to do. We just need to sit down and talk. That's it.
Yeah, and the other person needs to listen.
Yeah.
But not to quell the talk there, but
Yeah.
I think that is a good note to finish this on.
Yeah. It is.
It was still a good
To be honest.
talk, regardless. It
Yeah.
is nice to
It was
talk
fun.
about it. But before you go, first off, thank you for coming on.
Welcome.
It still blows my mind. But
Yeah.
are there any other Deathslinger mains you want to shout out? I don't really ask this too often, but I know of a few others.
Osukin Waibiru, who is a partnered YouTuber and
Mhm,
an affiliate streamer. I hope that he can get partner on Twitch at some point.
mhm.
Um, and you can find him like his name on YouTube. I think it's just Osukin Waibiru. I'll send you the links after.
Okay.
And his Twitch is the same. He's number 4 Slinger NA.
Mhm.
And he has, I think, about 3,000 hours on Slinger. So he is absolutely insane at Slinger. He's
And
probably one of the best like North American slingers out there.
yeah, he puts out good content too.
Yeah, he's absolutely insane on the content grind. I wish I literally ask him every single day, yo, give me ideas, and because he can't. Yeah, it's hard way. And then we've got like Zapples as well. Zapples is taking a break at the moment, but he's slowly coming back.
Mhm.
He's also like one of the granddaddies of Deathslinger. So he, like I said, he started playing 2 years ago. You can find him on TikTok, YouTube by the same name. And lastly, who else? There's one more. There's one more called Kaikak. Kaikak isn't actually a Deathslinger main per se, but she's an incredible fucking artist. That she's been in my community like ever since it's kind of like started,
Mhm.
and she definitely deserves like all the attention in the world because she's an incredible fucking artist and an amazing person.
Um,
You can find her over on like Twitch at Kaikak underscore KIJAK underscore.
and any closing words before we end this?
If you guys want to find me on Twitch or YouTube, I think on YouTube it's well inspired without the underscores.
Mhm.
And then on Twitch I go by well underscores underscore tired. And I normally like hang out in streams and stuff. If you see me, please say hi. And if you come by my stream, just ask any question you want. I'm more than happy to answer any of them.
And that
And yeah, be good people. I'm stealing that from Clean Saint Denise.
and all those links will be below as always. And if you made it this far, you're a fucking legend. I know some of you do. I see my analytics. Uh,
Also, I only see that 40% of you are subscribed. Please subscribe.
I don't even look at that one. I don't give a shit.
Watch me be right. Watch me be right.
Do what you want. I don't care. But in any case, I'll see y'all later. Have a good one, and as always, yeah. Bye.
Bye.